What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be, however you may be watching? Thank you for giving us just a little bit of your time. And it wouldn't be a stream on this channel if we didn't get started about 15 or 20 minutes late because of some stupid technical difficulty that I didn't see coming. But we're here, and I've also forgotten to turn down all of my electronics, apparently, because I'm an asshole. See? That's how every show starts at this point. That's how every show starts at this point.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, we're going to look back and laugh at ourselves one of these days. But we are here to talk about all the crazy, insane happenings of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm here to do it with my usual co-hosts, the Dowager Countess Lady Cora being one of them. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm doing all right.
Give me a quick...
Happy to be here.
Give me a quick, one-sentence breakdown of what you thought of the film.
Let down.
Really?
I mean... Yeah. I'll say this. It was worth watching because, part of the continuum of Marvel plot, you need to see these things, but I was let down. A lot.
You're not the only person I've heard that said that. But I'm also curious
We'll
to
say
know...
the acting was on point. Scripting was well. It was the plot that I had problems with. The timing was good. Just didn't... In the cameos that I were expecting, one being my co-host here, they weren't there.
But that's why I'm here. I got you.
Yes. So I was let down, but not so much so that I'm mad about it. I was just like, it was like an alternate version of the movie that I wanted. It was Earth 838's Doctor Strange movie, not 616. There we go.
Well, he may not have appeared in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness, but he's appearing here right now on your screen. And that is my hetero life mate Jeremy playing the role of President Loki. What's up, brother? Give me your one sentence breakdown of the movie real quick.
It was very dark, surprising, good acting, and where do we go from here?
That is a big question.
See, it's a big what if, right?
It is, in fact, a
This
big
was-
what if.
This was the multiverse of what if, and I mean, I almost put Illuminati confirmed just because that's a great joke, but come on, that's basically what happened.
Yeah, if I had to put a sentence on it, I would say...
There we go. I was about to ask you.
If I had to put it to a sentence, I would say it was slightly better than adequate. There was plenty to like in the movie. There were some things that didn't quite get there for me, but I caught myself. I say a lot. Don't let your speculation become your expectation. That's one thing that said a lot about movies, and I was kind of letting my speculation get the best of me a little bit as we got closer and closer. And even after getting hit with a couple of spoilers, because YouTube, and I really hope YouTube figures this out, it's like you couldn't go onto YouTube without having... It's not even like it's like, here's a spoiler if you want to watch it. It's like Reed Richards killed by Wanda is in the title, and it's like, well, that alone, even if you don't watch the video, you've kind of... Your eyes are drawn to it, you're going to read it, and you're kind of screwed. But even knowing some of this stuff, I was just kind of like, I went in there with a little bit higher hopes for a few things than I should have, and it probably affected me. I think after I watched the movie a second and third time, it'll probably come down a little bit, but anyway, we're here to talk about all the crazy, insane, wacky, horror-filled goodness of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And before we get into that, Lady Cora, why don't you give us a brief synopsis of exactly how the movie went down?
All right. Get a cup of tea. Sit down. Listen.
Yeah, the free food from a different universe. I got you.
Yeah, you don't got... Oh, wait. It's not free. American Chavez and a version of Stephen Strange are chased by a demon in the space between universes while searching for the Book of Vashanti. Strange is killed and Chavez accidentally creates a portal that transports herself and Strange's corpse to Earth 616. The universe's version of Strange rescues Chavez from an octopus demon with help from the Sorcerer Supreme Wong. Chavez explains that the demons are hunting her because she has the power to travel through the multiverse. Recognizing witchcraft runes on the demon, Strange consults Wanda Maximoff for help, but realizes that she is responsible for the attacks. After acquiring the Darkhold and becoming the Scarlet Witch, Maximoff believes that controlling Chavez's powers will allow her to reunite with Billy and Tommy, the children she created during her time in Westview. When Strange refuses to surrender Chavez, Maximoff attacks Kamar-Taj, killing many sorcerers. Chavez accidentally transports herself and Strange to Earth 838, while Maximoff uses the Darkhold to dreamwalk, taking control of her Earth 838 counterpart, who lives a suburban life with her own Billy and Tommy. Surviving sorceress sacrifices herself to destroy the Darkhold and break the dreamwalk. Enraged, Maximoff forces Wong to lead her to Mount Wundagore, a hidden ancient ruins to reestablish the dreamwalk. While searching for help, Strange and Chavez are apprehended by Earth 838 Sorcerer Supreme Carl Mordo and brought before the Illuminati, a group consisting of Mordo, Peggy Carter, Blackagar, Boltagon, Maria Rambeau, Reed Richards, and Charles Xavier. Explained that through reckless use of their universe's Darkhold in an attempt to defeat Thanos, Earth 838 Strange triggered a universe-destroying incursion. After defeating Thanos, the Illuminati killed their Strange to prevent him from causing more harm. Mordo believes that Earth 616's Strange is similarly dangerous, but before they can pass judgment, Maximoff reestablishes her dreamwalk at Mount Wundagore and arrives in her Earth 838 counterpart's body. She slaughters all of the Illuminati members except Mordo, while Strange and Chavez escape with help from the Earth 838 counterpart of Strange's ex-fiancée Christine Palmer, a scientist working with the Illuminati. Strange, Chavez, and Palmer enter the space between universes to find the Book of Vashanti, the antithesis of the Darkhold, but Maximoff appears and destroys it. She then takes over Chavez's mind, using her powers to send the others to an incursion-destroyed universe. Back in Earth 616, Maximoff begins the spell to take Chavez's power. Strange defeats the destroyed universe's Strange. That was a fun one to say.
Yeah.
Who has been corrupted by his universe's Darkhold and uses it to dreamwalk in the corpse of the deceased alternate Strange that Chavez was with earlier. With Wong's help, Strange saves Chavez from Maximoff and encourages Chavez to use her abilities. She transports Maximoff to Earth 838, where she sees Billy and Tommy recoil from her in fear while crying for their real mother. Maximoff relents and uses her powers to bring down Mount Wundagore, destroying all copies of the Darkhold throughout the multiverse and apparently sacrificing herself in the process. Chavez returns Strange and Palmer to their respective universes. Sometime later, Kamar-Taj is repaired as the surviving sorcerers, joined by Chavez, continue training. Strange develops a third eye as a result of using the Darkhold and dreamwalking into a corpse. In a mid-credit scene, Strange is approached by a sorceress who warns him that his actions have triggered an incursion that he must help fix. Strange follows her into the dark dimension.
Yeah,
and then there's a second post-credit scene, which is for laughs, of a guy who, I forget what he played on some show, but he's a pretty famous actor.
That was Bruce Campbell.
Who for 3 weeks has been forced to keep punching himself in the face, and finally the curse stops, and last punch comes and he screams, "It's over! It's over!" It's funny.
It was
best fourth wall break in that whole movie. Amazing.
That was very, very funny. But that's pretty much what happened in the movie without kind of reciting it word for word and reading the script. But I mean, it's so much crazier than it sounds when she reads it, because they're all the crazy visuals, just kind of the way things all went down, the way people delivered dialogue. There are a couple of really fantastic shots in this movie. There were great cinematography. But let's start by talking about the cast. I mean, obviously we've got the big three people that you see on the thumbnail. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange, of course. You got Wanda Maximoff. You got Wong. So I mean, those three kind of just came back and did as good as they were always going to do. But let's talk a little bit about the people that were kind of additions to the cast. Let's start first with, the other person who kind of is every bit as important to the story as Doctor Strange, and that's the character America Chavez. Cora, what did you think of that character and kind of what she brought to the MCU and to this film in particular?
I think they did great casting, first of all. Girl did a good job.
It's always been Marvel's strong suit is casting.
Right. I like the character. I did think it was a little hokey that her name's American. She's wearing a jacket that has a flag on it. That bothered me through the whole movie. There's just something about her character that seemed genuine, and it was like fresh blood, and something that needed the whole Marvel world need maybe a new character, and she's a great one. Even if it's a standalone and she's not in anything else, I loved her being in this movie. I liked her development at the end, towards the end when she said to R. Strange, it's okay, you can take my power. I get it now. She went from the beginning, she's like, no, don't kill me, to the other Strange. You can tell she's evolved and learned things, and she lit up, and when he encouraged her to take her powers and use them and not just let them control her. I liked the development of her character from the beginning to end, so that was really nice. So overall, I was glad for it. I was worried a little bit at the beginning that it was going to be a whiny teenager, just chasing Strange around and fucking shit up, and I'd be screaming at the screen. But happily, I was wrong.
No, he has a name. It's called Peter Parker. I said what I said.
That was an interesting piece of dialogue, too, because, with the way that Spider-Man No Way Home ended, there is that little bit of dialogue in the diner with Strange, Wong, and America Chavez, where they mention Spider-Man. And it kind of makes you wonder exactly what effect that spell at the end of the movie had. So do they remember Peter? Do they remember just Spider-Man, but don't know that he's Peter Parker? That's kind of,
they might.
That was a piece of dialogue that kind of left me wondering. I was like, exactly where is that thing at?
I didn't even catch that.
They might. You know what? They might know of Spider-Man, because I'm like, remember they were like, he shoots webs out of his butt. No, I hope not. I'm like, wait. Well, Strange he knows who he is. I'm like, he's probably seen him do it with this little thing. So I'm like, maybe they don't know or maybe they know of Spider-Man, but not to the degree they used to. I don't know.
What did you think of her, Jeremy, and her character?
Yeah. I thought the quite literal America was a little overdone, but hey, that's America for you, I guess. I want to see a star. There's gonna be memes. I am for certain. I'm gonna see a star open up, and I'm gonna
those jackets, right? They're gonna sell those jackets.
People are gonna make them too. You could very easily take a little short little jean jacket like that and color on some stars and shit. Yeah, I was expecting America Fuck Yeah to start playing every time she goes through a portal.
Did you notice the star that was her portal shape?
Yeah, and I'm almost I know we want a visual cue to we know what it is, or because now it's oh yeah, get it, it's on her jacket, get it, her name's America. The portals are star shaped, and I'm like, yeah. So later down the road,
she's not even from this.
Yeah, later down the road when we see something I'm sure if you said if she never shows up again. And some little end credit tease, you just see a star shape just pop out of somewhere, and you're and it just cuts the black. You're I know who that is. You know what I mean? I feel that's what it's like. I'm not 10. I understand I get it. But I'm oh, I know why you're beating me over the head with that, because that's a visual cue that you won't forget if we happen to see it again. And in a considerable amount of time, if that's the case. Speaking of which, somebody we haven't seen in a considerable amount of time still, even though it's only been, the beginning of this year? The hell happened to White Vision?
I was gonna get to that.
I'm mad. I'm really fucking mad. We watched the first bonus thing, and I Googled how many bonus things are there, right? And it said 2. So I was hoping the second one would have Vision in it. And it's just a fucking hot dog stand guy. I'm just like...
It's Bruce Campbell. Come on.
I wanted Vision!
He's like Sam Raimi's best friend. They, their first movie all together, they've been since, Evil Dead. Like, I get it. I get why he's in the movie. He was in the Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi directed.
I just wanted Vision or Loki or TVA at the end.
We did think when we saw Mordau when they get there and you don't see who it is. You're like, oh look, there's the Sorcerer Supreme, and some tall guy walks out. You just see his back. He's got a green something on. He's got real long dark hair. We're like, is it Loki? Because that'd be funny as shit. We're like, oh no, it's just Mordau. Ah, damn it. I was kind of a little bit let down. I was like, oh, it's him. I was like, oh yeah, he's in this movie. I forgot he's in the trailers. But as we learned from Morbius, that doesn't really fucking matter anymore. So.
Yeah, this movie, if nothing else, it proved to me that Marvel's they're gonna embrace the multiverse stuff, and that has me worried at a lot of different levels. But we can get to that later on.
That's what's fun.
But I mean, a couple of more additions to the cast, obviously, are the Illuminati.
John fucking Krasinski did we not call it?
Yeah, obviously we knew they were gonna be in it. I mean. The Illuminati was mentioned in the trailers by Mordo. We got that when they came out with that first big trailer. You saw Charles Xavier, so you knew that that's kind of where it was at. But they had managed to hide, for the most part, exactly who were members of the Illuminati, as Strange is let in there in the magical handcuffs. So when you first go out there, of course, we end up seeing Black Bolt, which was the really surprising one to me. Because it's not just like it was Black Bolt from the comics. That was Black Bolt from the Inhumans TV series that lasted about 15 seconds, and Marvel pulled that shit off out of production. Like, that was the one, big mistake that they were like, oh my god, this is terrible. We need to, burn all this stuff right now. So it was, I think it was probably more fan service, maybe a little bit of a fun little Easter egg to have him in there playing Black Bolt. Because Kevin Feige is... Because, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the stuff that was on TV, the Netflix stuff, Kevin Feige has, in no uncertain terms, displayed his disdain for all the TV stuff. It was not stuff that he did. All the pre-Disney Plus stuff. That was all Ike Perlmutter stuff that was done separately from the MCU, and he has made very clear that that stuff does not exist to him, and he will not be dealing with it. He will not be working with it. That's why there's not going to be any Quake coming from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into the MCU, although I think that would be fun. She's not coming over. Coulson's not going to come back, which is very unfortunate. It's all that stuff is kind of dead. I don't think they're going to do that again. Barring whatever they may do with Charlie Cox's Daredevil. I don't know if he's playing a different version of Matt Murdock or not. That's not been established yet. But yeah,
he'd be a very good lawyer somewhere.
Yeah, so that was the one that really, really shocked me, is it was seeing Black Bolt. The other one I almost expected to see, but I didn't get, was Namor. I expected that Namor was going to be there, and obviously, now the Illuminati does not play a significant part in this movie. They're significant to help push Wanda through that moment where she has her, contact with the Illuminati. We'll go into that in a minute, and to help progress her down the movie, but I mean, there were some big characters in there. It's like you've got Charles Xavier, which is I'll get to that one in a minute, but you got Charles Xavier, you got Maria Rambeau, who has become Captain Marvel in that universe instead of Brie Larson's character of Carol Danvers, and you've got Mordor, who's on there obviously, and then the big one obviously that had been spoiled probably a week and a half ago. I think we all kind of heard it was coming, but it got spoiled a week and a half ago. Was John Krasinski, the ultimate fan cast god that actually shows up as Reed Richards, the smartest man alive.
Hold on.
In the last interaction before he dies is, well, it's a good thing they got another parent. They'll have someone, because you're about to die. Like, fuck you, bitch.
We'll get to that in a minute, but what were you saying, Jeremy? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was like, well, we're also missing a very well done look. I know this person voiced him in the What If series, but we got Captain fucking Carter in real life on the screen.
That was really
cool. I audibly cheered. I was like, yes! She did it.
That was really cool to see. But yeah, it's having them there was pretty badass. But the one I thought I would see was Namor. But I did come to find out, and I'll say that a little bit for some of the trivia that I found out about the movie later. But yeah, Namor is one that I expected to see. I thought that they might use this just to introduce him to the MCU. Now, obviously, everybody. Well, really, there's only one Illuminati member left after all the chaos. But it's like now, obviously, that it wouldn't have gone well for that Namor, and we're going to be getting.
We talked about how awful the way she killed each one of them. It was different, and then the way she killed Charles Xavier's like,
I feel kind of bad. I dropped an F-bomb, and I forgot there were like little kids sitting in front of me. I was like, damn it! I was so hoping. I was like, oh, that's such a cool visual. He's in like this
with the door and pulling the
white
real
room. He was trying to save her. He was trying to save her in her mind. And then as soon as I saw that smoke, I'm like, no. She fucking kills him. I was like, no. I literally said, no, you fucking did not. I was like, oh. Sorry.
You know what was great is I love that he kind of did with Wanda what he had tried to do with Jean Grey so many times. He had like gotten into her head, and because he knew that that Wanda was in there. The Wanda that is the good person was still in there, but the Darkhold had corrupted her, and so walking into her mind and seeing her under the rubble of that bombed out building and trying to pull her out, it was. I really thought he might have some effect because I kept thinking to myself that scene that was in the trailer where you see the one Wanda bending down and like rubbing the Scarlet Witch's face, and I was thinking to myself that maybe because one of the things that was talked about a lot is the variants of Wanda, which we did kind of get in this movie, but that was one of the things that was talked about a lot was, are we going to have one Wanda or are we going to have several Wandas? And I really thought that the Wanda that was going to be the problem was probably going to be some variant who was trying to take a bunch of shit over. And the Wanda that we had always known, that we have known throughout the course of the series so far, of the MCU so far, was going to be the one that kind of was like, no, I realized the mistakes that I made in Westview, blah, 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 and I'm going to help stop
Obviously
you.
Not.
Facade she first gave Doctor Strange of, planting trees and putting magic behind her.
But it was the opposite. It was not that at all. I was really surprised that. Now look, it makes sense, but I was surprised.
I called that though. She was going to heel turn.
True, but I was surprised because when we last see her leaving Westview, it seemed like she was in a good place. Now I know you can say post-credit scene of WandaVision up at the cabin, the astral version of Wanda is reading the Darkhold and getting all this information while Wanda's enjoying a cup of tea on the steps. And that's fine, but I really thought that after going through all the events of WandaVision that she kind of had seen, like, wait a minute, I need to pull back a little bit and maybe not let my rage get a hold of me. But it all happened kind of like a Greek drama. It all happened offset. It's like, you come in here, she's just a bad guy from the jump. There was no Wanda finding her way to the evil. She was just evil.
Well, again, I think it's that little sting.
Her children.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Her.
She does that little sting where you think, oh, okay, well, I mean, you don't just casually flip through the Darkhold while you're sipping tea on the porch. But, like, I think that was what kind of snapped her back into, like, she did know. She realized, that was probably a bad idea to do that to Westview. None of this was really real, I guess, except for the vision. That's probably the only thing that technically was still real. But hearing her kids, then she was like, wait, like, that's the thing. I'm like, if you were as astronomically, to use that word in a fun way, powerful as Wanda, I mean, you'd go through that too. It's very parallel to the Sorcerer Supreme Strange. He was doing everything he could try to do to bring back Christine. And it's like the same parallel of like grief, trying to, like, no matter what you do though, it's like you still don't learn that it's not going to make you feel better or help you get what you want. And I agree with Wong. He was like, is that not enough to know that in other universes you are with your kids? Like, even though it's not you? Like, I don't know.
You have to admit, when they had that scene about talking about how because of what he did, now people dream about their altars, see their lives. That must have been, it's one thing to just know they're out there, but to have to every night see the dreams of her children and wake up to an empty house, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that would also drive you crazy. Like, I'm trying to, I'm not obvious. I mean, this was a good time to bring this movie out too. It was just Mother's Day, so that's fun. And also, if you look at the acronym, Multiverse of Madness spells mom, so I don't know if that was on purpose, but that's clever if it is.
Well, you got to remember, this movie wasn't supposed to come out. It was supposed to come out a year ago.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
Probably a weird coincidence.
But
We're learning.
you can't admit, you gotta admit that's pretty damn funny. Now I get it. I'm not a mother. I don't have fake astral children that I lose and somehow hear and then see in my dreams. But I'm trying not sympathize. But I'm trying to understand. Like I get her motive, and she's kind of like, I mean, because again, she has nothing to live for really anymore, nothing to lose. So she's like, well, fuck it. If I have to kill basically the entire Illuminati and anyone else in the multiverse just to be with my kids, and
They
but
could
again,
just
it's
bring Vision back and give her something to live for.
But it's like you can't. Again, it's like it's not worth. I kind of figured that was going to be the lesson learned, kids. Brought to you by the letter A today.
I'm the only one who thought at the very last, at some point when she's at that, shrine, or as she calls it, the throne, that's the moment White Vision was going to come in. Like,
I was
waiting for it.
Although, wait a minute, when we got Strange, I'm like, wait a minute, does this mean Marvel Zombies confirmed? Huh? Marvel Zombies, come on!
I don't think they're ever going to do it in actual film form. I think it was probably the closest we were going to come.
That was probably it. I know it was sick. I'm not gonna lie, that was fun. That because if that was just a taste of that. That's not technically Marvel Zombies, but that's pretty damn close, I guess. That's some necromancy stuff, and that thing looked really cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty kick-ass. And I'm glad that little sting of, because I love Wong. Wong's my dude. When that little sting in the trailer where he's like looking up, he looks like he's hanging off a cliff. He's like, Strange! Like yelling for him. I was like, oh no, please don't. I love Wong. Please don't. I was like, oh, I'm glad that was actually a different thing. He sees Zombie Strange go there. He's like, Strange! I'm like, okay, good. It was a good moment.
Yeah, I thought Wong was buying it right then, because at some point, Stephen Strange is going to have to become the Sorcerer Supreme again, right?
Yeah,
and that doesn't happen. Now, I've actually softened on that a little bit recently, because after I saw the Thor trailer, I was thinking to myself, it does kind of make sense that Thor went from being the eventual leader of Asgard and all the leader of the Asgardian people to just being that guy who at the end of Avengers Endgame was just kind of like wandering aimlessly through the universe trying to figure out where he was going to go. And so I'm like, maybe these characters don't have to kind of go that path that we all thought they would in the beginning. And so it's probably the same for Doctor Strange. Maybe he was the Sorcerer Supreme for a while, but now maybe it doesn't serve his character to be the Sorcerer Supreme. Maybe it's good for Wong to just be that. Because I don't think he needs to be the Sorcerer Supreme.
He's clearly running off to go through some reality tear to fix something he did. Would have left Earth without no. Oh.
True. Maybe they would have a second in command or something. Come on, guys.
That's true. It would have been Wong anyway, so it's
that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't have mattered. Like, have him take care of stuff. Because even Wong was talking about how he's like, yeah, I'd like to. It's nice to know there's other versions of me out there, but he was kind of like, well, I'm thankful to be the one here. I'm like, no. There was I like, but also hate when, like, I'm gonna say it, when pop figures come out before a movie. There is one for Wong, and I'm like, I love Wong to death. But I'm like, hold on, I haven't seen this movie yet. Let me. Now I'm like, look, I didn't really need convinced, but I'm like, okay. I that one may show up soon.
But yeah, Jeremy, what was your biggest surprise? Like the one thing that really caught you off guard about the film?
Maybe something that shocked me was that she basically just kind of walked right through the Illuminati and she fucking killed Professor X. But I mean, in terms of like shocking, I don't know. I mean, it's something that, like, me and Cora, you saw it in our thing, was like, there is only one of this girl. At least that we know of. That got
me. That's what I was waiting to say. I'm like, how? I mean, she even says it. I've been to all these other ones. 88, she said, or something like that. She been to 81 or whatever, and there were no other versions of her. And
but, like,
I have all these questions, like, how the fuck is it that you're the one? But all these other universes have multiples.
Well, and it's also that trope of like, well, of course, the only person that can do it is also the one who has no idea how she's doing it. Because I'm like, trust me, if there were especially other beings that could traverse the multiverse and had other powers, maybe, you think this shit would be out of whack a lot more often. So it's maybe kind of like a safe, like, oh yeah, there is only one of her, and she doesn't even know how she's doing it. And she hasn't been to enough places to mess anything up.
The quantum leap vibe from her too, because she's traveling time or going through these multiverse, she can't control it, and stranges her Sam. I mean, I just have this quantum leap connection there a little bit.
A little bit, not necessarily through time as much as through universes, but yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, that was. I guess that was kind of surprising to me because I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. I guess maybe what the thing that shocked me the most was, shit, you don't have to pay for food in a lot of universes? God damn, humans are stupid.
Lucky bastards. Free pizza balls. Free pizza balls from Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
First of all, pizza being in ball form is bizarre.
A little bit of mustard, too.
Well, it's an alternate universe, so pizza being in ball form makes perfect sense. Maybe this universe doesn't eat pizza in slice form like we do.
Clearly.
But, yeah, Cora,
for them at Disney parks, everybody.
Yeah, Cora? What was one of the things that jumped out at you that you just didn't see coming? One of the big surprises.
Wanda being so prevalent in the movie. I knew that she was going to be part of it, but when I was on the phone with my mom yesterday, Happy Mother's Day to everybody, by the way. She was like, well, I don't really want to see it. I'm not a Marvel person, but I love WandaVision. I'm like, then you better watch this fucking movie because this movie's all about her.
This is the culmination of everything that has happened to her up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping it was more Doctor Strange, but it seemed like it was more... I'm not complaining per se, but just the biggest... To answer your question, it just was more about Wanda than I expected.
I guess there had to be the clash there. It's like, well, it's strange, but also Wanda's kind of doing a dumb thing of trying to get back to her kids by murdering whoever she...
Well, I didn't think...
Speaking of... This almost turned into a horror movie, for one thing. Holy shit.
All the sorcerers she killed, like... Ugh.
When she's coming in there with her... It's looking like Carrie. She's got, like, blood running down her face and fucking, like, just sitting there, like...
That's what I thought. People. As she was mowing through all those Ultron bots, that's what I thought. As I was seeing her with the blood on her face, I was thinking about that iconic picture from Carrie of her sitting there covered in pig's blood. I was like, that's a killer horror like callback. I thought that was a fantastic scene.
I think they almost did that to make her unredeemable, to make it so she had to die in the end.
Yeah.
She kind of came around, I guess.
Well, far. That's one of the things that confused me so much about everything that has happened from the end of WandaVision, where you see her fly off, to now. It's like, yeah, we saw her in the cabin in the post-credit scene, and she's reading the Darkhold, and she's obviously taking it all in. But do we know if we didn't know at the time if it's corrupting her or not. Maybe she's seen the error of her ways, but at the same time, you gotta think. And we talked about it when we were breaking down all the WandaVision episodes. She is a very broken person. And from the beginning of her time in the MCU, she has been completely shit on.
Look at how she talked to the boys through the staircase right at the end, and she was tearing up. I would never hurt you, but then look at what she fucking did. She killed how many people?
Yeah, like I said, that was the lesson for today, kids. I was like, someone's gonna have to show her that. I know that was her driving force, but it's like you realize these kids aren't actually your own kids that you knew in Westview. I thought it was almost kind of...
What happens to the mom that they grew up with when you go to this other universe, and she just didn't have an answer?
I don't know, because, that's the thing. I thought it was almost kind of comical when they came in. They're like, oh my god, witch! I'm like, fuck, that was funny. I don't know. And I don't know if they have... That's the other thing. I was like, do they have powers? Or are they just normal? That's what I wanted to know. I'm like, is this Wanda maybe still, like, Wanda with the wibbly-woos? Or is this just... I don't know. Because I feel like, if I was a little kid like that and I had super speed, I'd be booking it out the fucking door. Like, you know what I mean?
Look what Wanda
my brother and run.
Let me go search for the kids that I never had, but forget about Vision. Where the fuck was Vision? White Vision, no Vision, and other universes? Question mark. That's the thing.
I thought about
this
that
movie
too.
was so much about Wanda, they should have fucking had Vision in it, even for a moment.
Yeah, because I feel like if that was a thing that she was also, I mean, because she even said, she's like, I put a hole through the person I loved's head. I'm like, yeah, that's it? Come on, man. Like, you weren't concerned about that either? I don't know. Maybe because she knows he is out there, but she knows the kids weren't real. That's maybe.
I think she's too caught up in being the Scarlet Witch to give a fuck about romantic love, let alone whatever was her vision.
Here's the question, though: is the Vision that she fell in love with is dead, is gone.
Yeah.
The Vision that we saw in WandaVision was a figment of her imagination. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen the last episode. So that Vision is gone. The Vision that was killed in Wakanda and had the Time Stone ripped out of his head by Thanos, he's dead. He's gone. The Vision that exists now is that body, but it's not the same Vision. So when Vision touches his
memories,
when Vision
touches the library scene,
when Vision touches the mind, his Mind Stone, whatever the hell it was, and transfers all that memory, what he's transferring is data. We don't know, at least yet, that he transferred any emotion. So all that White Vision knows is that me and this chick had a thing. He may not feel the same way. Imagine another universe's you coming in, and your significant other walks across him, and you're like, yeah, I know you, but I am not the person you love. That emotional connection does not exist with me.
That's exactly what happened with Strange and Christine in that lab room.
Every single time they were never together, and I was like, damn, dude.
But
just like the time machine.
But that's the thing is we don't yet. It's they leave that out there, and then supposedly Wanda dies. We'll get to that in a minute. And it's like that leaves a big question unanswered. Well, it kind of does and it kind of doesn't, because we know it's the MCU and nobody ever dies. That's one of the things I don't like about the idea of a multiverse being around past this movie.
Know that if she can transform herself into some energy of some kind, or go to another universe in that moment.
I think the answer was in this movie. This Earth 818 or 838 Wanda that was there, that she took over her mind and made her do all this shit and go wipe out the Illuminati. I really think that Wanda is going to be the one that we're going to get again eventually. So supposedly right now, the Wanda that we've always known, the one that we saw in Sokovia and Age of Ultron, the one that has been up with us, and the one who was whooping Thanos' ass for a minute and made him rain fire. It's like that Wanda that we've had so far is now gone, as far as we know.
Okay, like Vision.
She brought the building down on herself. But that's the big question. It's like, now that mutants are going to eventually come into the MCU, it's like, how do we not have Wanda? I just don't understand how it's going to work. Now, in Feige, I trust. He's probably already got a plan. But it's got me kind of tripping. I don't know what his plan's going to be right now. But... I don't know. I agree. I don't think it made much sense to not have Vision play a role in this at all, because why would she want so badly to have her family back, but Vision is not even on her mind?
Actually, would have been kind of cool is when she came, or like when she the Scarlet Witch version of her came into that house with the kids and that version of Wanda. What if you just saw Paul
a Vision there?
No, with just Paul Bettany. You just see Paul Bettany walk in with her. What's going on?
It never establishes who her baby daddy is.
I know. I'm like, if you would at least just saw him in human form as Paul Bettany,
I like that, Jeremy.
That would have been wild. Hey, that's why you should vote for me. I got all the good ideas. Yeah, if he would have walked in and be like, "What's going on here?" I would have freaked the fuck out. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. But yeah, is that all of the big surprises, or is there anything else that you guys want to talk about that was kind of a shock?
Not a shock, but I thought it was awesome. When she was fighting Captain...
it was interesting that the Christine in 838 seemed to know so much about the multiverse. Nobody thought to ask her any fucking questions. She said she's an expert, and she's named all the universes with numbers, and we don't want to know more from her?
She's
really?
Still out there.
It's true.
You could.
Yeah, I don't like multiverse anything. Jeremy, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, just not shocking, but just something that was fun. I even said it at the same time, like she's fighting Captain Carter, and she's like, "I could do this all day." I'm like, "Ha! There it is."
Like, there's that line.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't she had a rocket pack. That's kind of awesome. That's why she didn't slide up next to her, like on your left, boom, and just bash her with the shield. Also, you know what? You know what shocked me? You missed the opportunity again, Marvel. When Strange is in there in his little handcuffs before the Illuminati, and you hear Wanda stomping through the building, and they're like, "Oh, she's here," and he goes, "No shit." I'm like, you could have said "No shit, Sherlock" again. You missed it.
I don't know if it'll work the same. It would have been great if he'd have said that line to Robert Downey Jr. at some point.
I know. If one of them would have said it, I'm like, you had another opportunity. You could have said it right there, and it just would have been funny. But that's 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. Again. Yeah. Missed opportunity. I don't know. I'm not saying you had to work it in there. But
No,
I
know.
Fans would have gotten a kick out of it. It would have been one of those movies where those moments when people were like, "Ha ha, we understand that reference."
Actually, I do have one last question. Then, if we're gonna move to something else, now he had those handcuffs on, right? Strange did, and I'm assuming it like negates his powers, right?
Yes.
Diffuser of some kind.
Yeah.
He put it on Mordo's hand for a second.
That's where I'm going with that. He got a tussle with Mordo, and then he left one of them on his hand. I'm like, now, does it work with one? Because he had the other one on his arm, but he got it off. I'm like, now, does that mean Mordo doesn't have any powers?
Yeah. That's why they were fighting. That's why it was just like hand-to-hand combat when they both ended up with one of those.
Yeah, no, but I mean, he left him there that way with... I'm assuming he can get them off, but I'm like, well, kind of left him there with not having a power. I'm not saying he couldn't have jumped out of that little trench, but I'm just saying he doesn't have his powers at the moment. So I don't know.
Well, he's not the Mordo that we're worried about as far as Captain Strange is concerned, because remember, the Mordo in the 616 in his home universe still hates him and wants all the sorcerers dead. So
I'm sure he doesn't like you. That was pretty funny.
I'm sure we'll come across that Mordo again at some point, maybe in the next movie. I don't know. But but Cora, what was one of the negative things about this movie? One of the things that really bothered you?
No vision.
It's an insignificant detail, maybe, to most everyone else, and in the plot it means nothing. How the fuck is the movie magic supposed to explain how Wanda knew about America, knew her name, knew how to hunt her, all this shit, if America didn't even understand her powers? How the fuck did Wanda even pinpoint her existence? No, it bothers me a great deal.
That's just a way to sign it off. Like, magic, whatever, you don't have to understand it.
Just saying, that's the one thing that I'm like, come on. One sentence could have said, while I was in this, I saw this. But no, there's nothing. It's just like...
Maybe it's logical that there was something in the Darkhold. Because remember what they said, that the Book of Vashanti is the antipode of the Darkhold. So while the Darkhold is a book full of dark magic, the other one is the book full of light magic, kind of, dark side, light side, force stuff. So it's possible that one or both of those books mentions, if not America Chavez directly, a person that can walk, that can transport or move between dimensions or realities or universes and things like that.
She's
so
Jesus
then.
Yeah, so it's
That's
not
the Bible.
Yeah, it's not. It's logical that the book says something about, if not her directly, someone like her. Especially considering that she is the only version of her that exists across the multiverse. That would be something significant to all the people who are in this.
Her to even know about her, though.
Yeah,
because she's the only one.
Well, and they did say those. Well, I assume maybe the other book too might have, because he said the Darkhold was a copy. It was transcribed from something else. I'm like, so maybe this ancient whatever that was written on this wall, like you said, prophesized that there was somebody that could move in and out of the multiverse. And maybe they copied it into the Darkhold, and there, maybe something in the I almost call it the Lighthold because I already forgot its damn name.
The Book of Vashanti?
I don't know.
Something like that.
That thing, the bright shiny book, the good one.
All right, I'll get it for you just a second.
Okay.
Vashanti.
Yeah, the Book of Vashanti.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe there was, like some ancient text about it. Then, like I said, when they put it into the books. Also, that's another question. There wasn't just one Darkhold.
There was one Darkhold in every universe.
That's what I mean. So I'm like, but they made a copy. I'm like, well, then how did it end up in did every universe do that? And then if there's only one of that,
I'm getting the feeling that that was the only temple or whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, was there only one temple? Was there only one of the good book too, or because that seemed like a weird space between. Didn't they say that was a space between multiverses where they were at originally, and that's where that book was?
Yeah.
So there may only be one of that book, but there's Darkholds all over the universes. There's no Darkhold in that space between spaces.
Somehow magically she destroyed them all, even though she can't travel through them.
Yeah, and you're going to tell me a couple...
like America.
You're going to tell me a couple rocks knocked her on the head and killed her? No. That's why I'm like, you didn't die. There's no way after all that crap, you just...
I think she transcended into some other, like, existence.
Maybe she gave up, but I'm like...
She could change out of. Or like she had, here's the thing. She was pretty powerful as a Scarlet Witch. She had to have some backup plan that if she was backed into a corner, to escape somehow.
Like in Pokemon. Why is there a move called self-destruct? Because I'm going to kill me and you at the same time. Because whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's... I know we saw a big little red poof right when the thing came down. I'm like, yeah, but...
I hate to say this, but this movie kind of took a little bit of the shiny wonderfulness off of WandaVision a little bit for me. When I look back at it now, I'm like, knowing where it went.
She's essentially a pretty dark character. Like you said, she's lost damn near everything. And she's descended into this madness too.
You know, we talked about it when we were doing the WandaVision stuff. It's like the tough childhood growing up in a war-torn country, which that alone would screw most human beings up. Then the whole experience of watching her parents die in that bombing, being experimented on by Strucker and all the people at Hydra, watching her brother dealing with the death of her brother, dealing with the death of Vision like 17 times. Having to going through all the shit that she went through in WandaVision, having to lose Vision again and her kids, and having to deal with Agatha and learn some harsh truths about herself, and then she's reading
another person who could have come back.
So she's reading.
Agatha could have come back.
I was wondering if Agatha was going to show up.
No, they're saving her for the Disney Plus thing.
So.
She's getting her own series. She wasn't going to come around for this.
Well, I meant like even in just like a end credit or something, like maybe just see her again, not like be in the movie.
But with Wanda dead at the end of the movie, what would have been her purpose in the end credits? What would have been her purpose at all, really?
Well, it's not like she knows. Wait. Wasn't she the one kind of remember, she kind of, I guess, essentially wiped her mind and kept her the snobby, annoying neighbor. Was that not her that had that hold on her? Now that she's gone, did that maybe snap her out of it? And now that's a setup for her series? Now that she's unleashed?
Well, maybe. I mean, we'll have to figure that out when we get to WandaVision. But
I love your brain, Jeremy.
Whatever Agatha stuff's coming up.
It has its moments.
Frank, I have to ask you, what percentage of you actually thinks Wanda's actually dead?
Oh, 0. There's no way.
Okay. All right.
I think either that Earth 838 version of Wanda is going to be the good girl Wanda that we end up getting moving forward, or that Wanda's not actually dead. Because that's my one big knock on the MCU is the deaths are meaths.
Well, Tony Stark is dead. That was pretty.
Well, yeah, but they're going to bring him back eventually. There's already talk about him and Chris Evans coming back in some form, so it's like whatever.
Well, it doesn't have to be like current. It can be like past stuff or just things you see happen before.
But it's still less.
It does I'm saying it undermines that whole trust me, and you said in Feige we trust. That would be a dumb thing to do is to shoehorn them back in. I know we can do that.
He's not going to do it because they've already talked with Chris Evans about coming back.
Fan service, Jeremy.
I know. I'm not saying I'm not going to be happy as hell if I see him again.
But if it's stuff like cameos and stuff, that won't bother me nearly as much. But my whole problem with the multiverse is that when people die, they're never really dead. It's always just like, okay, we'll just jump into this multiverse and grab this universe as Tony Stark. We'll just go over here and grab this universe as Captain America. It's like nobody really
dies. What they can do with the TVA angle. Completely redoing everything.
At least this does kind of lessen that whole thing, and I don't remember which X-Men movie it was, where Professor Xavier just comes out of nowhere and go like, "Didn't you die?" And all he says is like, "Oh, there are things you don't understand. Make it so." I'm like, "You can't." I had Wolverine's face too. I'm like, "What? No."
Say what?
I'm like, "I like you. I like your," and I would maybe willingly just take you at your word, but I'm gonna stop you there, dude. No. Maybe this is kind of like, okay, well, yeah, he does just kind of exist, and well, now he doesn't. So I don't know. Also, you know what? We didn't get Tom Cruise Iron Man, so I'm cool. Look, I'm just saying it would have been hilarious if you just pressed the suit, the fucking thing came down, and like Highway to Danger Zone blares out of his suit and he takes off. That would have been funny as hell. Just to have fun with. Like, fuck you, Tom Cruise. I forgot. I'm obliged to say it, but I like Top Gun. I can separate the two.
I'm not saying I don't like it, but I'm just saying I don't know. I'd rather see Deadpool than that. They're gonna do
we didn't even get Deadpool.
I know.
Well, we do also have Thor: Love and Thunder coming up. That could be a place where Deadpool pops up.
Ooh.
I don't see him popping up in the Black Panther 2 coming out this fall. I don't see him coming up there.
Did anyone else notice when they were walking through? I kind of half caught it. I think they said that these two universes were kind of merging into each other when they went to go see the Doctor Strange.
The incursion.
Yeah, when it was kind of just like melding, I was like, wait, now there were like cars floating around. Obviously, it was New York City, but I'm like, there was cars floating around.
Right.
For a hot second, I thought I saw that car from Evil Dead and from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Uncle Ben's that car. I swear I saw it in the middle of the street for a hot second. I'm like, wait. I was like, oh, please don't tell me this is Tobey Maguire's New York City. And I just got totally... Because, like, that's Uncle Ben's car. And I know it's Sam Raimi's joke. He puts that shit in, like, every... I get it. But I was like, wait. I did a Tony Stark. You think I'd notice? You know, I didn't notice, but I did.
It's a good thing to catch. I didn't see any Easter eggs like that myself.
I wasn't totally sure. I'd have to watch it again, which I would not mind watching this movie again. But I thought I saw that there for a second. And that's a fun little... You know... It's a fun little Easter egg, which made me think, is that...
You did, actually. That's one of the things that I had in my trivia.
You thought I didn't notice, but I did.
No, I wouldn't notice, but we did.
Good job, Jeremy.
But, yeah, I mean, so, yeah, a few negatives. I mean, the second act of the story kind of went a little wonky. Great start. A fantastic start. One of my favorite shots of the movie, actually, is when he's at Christine's wedding, and like all the shit starts to break loose on the street, and he just kind of like takes the last sip of his martini, sits it over there, and then he pulls out his pocket square, which is his cape, and then just kind of like jumps off and throws it out in front of him, and he just magically is in his Doctor
James
Strange.
Bond, right?
Oh, it was a bit James Bond, a bit Doctor Strange. It was just a very cool, quick little sequence. I was like, that's pretty cool. It actually reminded me a lot of the Avengers when he throws Tony off Avengers Tower, and his suit comes down and gets him like as he's falling, and then like right before he gets to the ground, he like shoots back up and rolls back up there and starts throwing hands with Loki. So yeah, it was kind of a brief little shot like that. But yeah, I really liked that shot. I thought it was pretty cool. But again, I was really hoping the multiverse was going to wrap up with this. But when Kevin Feige came out at CinemaCon and said that something to the effect of multiverse is something that they're going to have in their back pocket that they can use, I was like, really? I was like, because this is one of the things that to me that killed the Arrowverse on CW. It's like there's so many different versions of so many different people. It's like, come on, just stop.
It is a safeguard, though. When you got people doing dumb shit like beating up people in Hawaii.
Seems like a cheat.
You know what I mean?
Don't actually have to put plot in that actually takes into account all the things that have happened. You can just rewrite history, as Frank says. Is that what you say?
But that's what I don't like, though.
Yeah,
and their reset button is the TVA. Like they got it all figured out.
Yeah, I don't like.
We don't need the multiverse then, right?
Because one of my problems with that terrible Indiana Jones movie that came out several years ago, The Kingdom of the Skull.
Nope, don't talk about it.
They completely redesigned who Indiana Jones was and didn't give any logic to it. It's like, wait a minute. So you mean he wasn't the Indiana Jones that we thought he was this last three movies that were badass and awesome and great and iconic and wonderful? That he actually was working for the government this whole time? I was like, wait a minute, you just completely redefined this character. That's not cool. That's right there. That's where the movie loses me. It's like the whole nuking the fridge thing I was with. I was like, okay, it's a movie. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief for just a minute because that was a fun scene to watch. It was visually pleasing. But when you start fucking with a character like that, it kind of pisses me off. And that's what ends up happening when you have something like a multiverse. It's like you have somebody like at the end of Endgame, Tony Stark snaps his fingers, he saves the whole world, Thanos is defeated, and the result of that snap was his death. And that's an important thing. That adds more weight to a moment that's already very, very heavy. It hits you hard emotionally. It hits you hard. It hits your brain hard from what's happening. And then 2 movies later, it's like, oh, we just go out, pop into this multiverse and pull out this Tony Stark, and now he's back. It's like, well, now that moment loses its weight. It loses its gravity. It loses its meaning. Now it's pointless. And that's why I don't like this idea of multiverse, because it's going to be too easy and too tempting. We're just going to go to this universe and get Captain America back. We're going to go to this universe and get Tony Stark. We're going to go to this universe and get Pietro back. We're going to go to this universe and get the old Vision back. And it's like, nobody really dies. It's like, well, then what's the point? The fact is, you're fighting people like Thanos. You're fighting people like Galactus. Eventually, I think is going to come. You're fighting people like the Celestials. You're fighting people like Ego, the Living Planet. These are not guys that like traditional armies or that you can throw hands with and win a battle. These are people that destroy worlds and universes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's you can't just being able to all willy nilly screw around like that. It's like, come on, dude, really? It's like.
Well, 838, the Illuminati, makes a good point that the universes need to stop interacting. Otherwise, you're going to have these incursions. So maybe this old Doctor Strange movie will lead to some type of rules about not doing that exact thing you just described.
Well, didn't they also... I will appreciate when they were going through the little multiverses there and you saw each different type. For a hot second...
trippy, by the way.
Paint one was sweet, but I'm like, you saw the little comic booky one. I'm like, funny.
Yeah, I saw that.
The cartoon one?
Yeah, the little cartoon, almost what if.
I was trying to watch that real close, because one of the theories that I had heard of coming into the movie was that, one of the other universes was going to be like the X-Men 1990s comic book or cartoon universe. And that's because if you think about it, the Charles Xavier that we see is in that yellow hovercraft and he's wearing the same green suit and tie. So the idea I think they're putting forward is that Charles Xavier is that universe's Charles Xavier, not the one that we've seen in Days of Future Past, all the X-Men stuff prior.
They did do a little musical sting. I heard it. I saw it in the credits. They did the little musical sting from the 90s show when he rolled out there. I'm like, aha.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when you hear that, I was like, oh, my heart skipped a beat when I heard that. I thought it was fucking amazing. But yeah, so I totally lost track of what I was thinking. But yeah, I really thought that was going to be, I was looking for it really closely. I was like, do you see like Wolverine or Storm or something in the background of that shot? I was trying to look really closely at it, but I was like, oh, it's happening too fast. And I couldn't pause or rewind because, I was in the theater. But once it comes out on streaming services, I'll give that a good look and try to break it down a little more.
Another joke was I was like, well, I know they just said fuck it and went ahead with it with Logan. I'm like, that wasn't technically even in the same universe that they had already, I guess, set up and knocked down and set up and get whatever they did. I don't care.
Yeah, continuity, schmontinuity when it came to Fox's stuff.
I still liked it, but I'm like, they're basically like, no, we're telling this old man Logan story, and this is technically in a different reality or a different universe. So I'm like, you could do it. But whatever. I didn't see him, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't think that I would, but that was even technically in a different universe or reality too. That wasn't in the one that we knew. So I don't know.
Do you change anything, Frank? Like, if one thing you could change about this whole movie, what would you change?
Hey, keep Professor X alive. God damn it.
No. Honestly, I think that...
Broke my heart, man.
I think that, and here's one of my bold predictions moving forward, is I think we're not going to see Patrick Stewart play Charles Xavier again. I
thought that was why.
While the Illuminati served their purpose for this film, I think we'll see them again down the line in Marvel, but I think this Illuminati was just there to kind of help move the story to where it needed to be in this movie. So this Illuminati getting wiped out was not a bad thing for me. Because look, I'll give you another bold prediction right now. And we were talking about this, I think, last week when we were talking about the John Watts leaving the Fantastic Four. I'm pretty sure that at some point pretty soon, I'm surprised they haven't done it today at some point, that at some point pretty soon, they're going to announce that John Krasinski is starring and directing in Fantastic Four. They're going to announce somewhere down the line, they're going to announce somewhere down the line that John Watts is taking over either the X-Men movie or the Avengers movies, whatever the next Avenger mashup film they do is going to be. I think because Kevin Feige's got a long history of working with John Watts. He really likes what he did with the Spider-Man stuff. He's worked with him on other films. So I think that he's like, if the Russo brothers don't come back, which they may not, they haven't decided to come back yet. Technically speaking, they were done after Endgame. And they're not particularly fond of some of the stuff that's going on with Disney right now, so it's very possible they don't come back to do anything else with Marvel. I think that John Watts could be stepping into either the Avengers stuff or the X-Men movie. Maybe that's my bold prediction. But yeah, I really don't think that I don't think that John Krasinski. I think that universe's Mr. Fantastic is dead. I think the Fantastic Four movie that we're gonna get is from a different universe. They probably won't reference too much of what happened in this movie. Maybe a couple of things in passing that just those little bits of dialogue.
They dream, remember?
Yeah, they do say
the movie
that.
might be able to dream about what happened.
They do say that, that your dreams are not just figments of your imagination, your brain firing while you're asleep, but they're actually you in other universes doing whatever you were doing. So they allude to that. Now, maybe it'll be something like that, I don't know. But I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to act and direct. It's going to be set on a different Earth. Maybe it'll even be set on this universe's Earth, whatever it is, 616.
Toby has a different outfit, because he did not look good in that one.
I actually thought it looked pretty badass.
I liked it.
I don't really want the skin-tight Fantastic Four thing. I don't think those things look good.
I'm not saying I want skin-tight, but it did not. I don't know.
I thought it looked pretty sick.
I thought he looked kind of bad. I thought he looked kind of grizzled, like he had been around.
Yeah, like
for a
he had
while,
the beard
like he had been in
too.
some shit.
Yeah, that looked pretty awesome. He looked
like a scuba suit. It didn't look like a superhero suit.
What did you expect? Yellow spandex?
No.
You're welcome. Fred got it.
I get that reference. That's from the first X-Men movie. In case you haven't watched that yet, Cora. Another movie you should catch up on.
Oh, God. It's awesome.
It is one of the better comic book films.
No, hold on. One thing somebody at work told me, though, he's like, well, if, like you just said, I kind of figured, I know Patrick Stewart's getting up there. You probably won't play Charles Xavier. I'm like, maybe this could have been a lead into, like, okay, James McAvoy, you can be Professor X-Men. You know what I mean? Kind of take Patrick Stewart out and just kind of put James McAvoy into the role. You could do that.
I don't know.
That's not a multiverse. That is technically the same character.
I don't know that they're going to go back to any of the Fox people. I think that when they went to Patrick Stewart, it was not to connect themselves to the stuff that Fox has already done. It was to excite the fans.
Oh yeah.
Because one of the things that having Patrick Stewart in there does is it's kind of a psychic nod to all the X-Men fans from from what 2001 or something when the first X-Men movie came out.
2000.
It's kind of a psychic nod to them that these things are all connected now. I think that's what it is, and I think in part it's kind of Patrick Stewart's subtly telling everybody it's okay to like these movies now that Fox and now that X-Men belongs to these guys. It's going to be okay. I think that's one of the reasons why they want to put him in there, because it draws those people in, and now they're going to be here for whatever comes up next. That's what I think they're doing. I don't think that's why I say I don't think we're going to see Patrick Stewart playing Charles Xavier again. For one, the guy's 80-something years old. He's been a working actor for 50 years. Just did another
season of Picard for CBS.
He's got Picard now.
There's a brand new Star Trek show I just saw a commercial for. I thought it was for like a new season of Picard.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? I mixed it up as well, and I've heard a lot of good things about it.
You know what's funny about that is the guy that played Black Bolt in this movie is playing Captain Pike in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. so you had two Starfleet captains in this sitting on that stage together. You had him playing Captain Pike, and you had Captain Picard in the form of Charles Xavier.
That is cool. That's funny.
Yeah, but. That was a fun little tidbit of trivia that I came across. I didn't put it on my list because I was like, it's probably more of a Star Trek thing than anything else. But yeah,
I'm even a Star Trek fan. That's still funny.
Yeah,
still funny.
Love it.
But to go back to Cora's question, would I change anything? Probably, but I can't think of anything right now that I would change because A, I'm an idiot. What do I know? And B, I don't know where they plan on going with the story. Because
I would change one thing.
What's that?
More Loki.
Wanda isn't the one that is going after America. I would love that America runs into Strange and Wanda then discovers her and then tries to go after her. Do you see what I'm saying? Changing the timeline a little bit. That would make way more sense to me.
That's what we got the TVA for, though.
Yeah,
but they weren't in the fucking movie.
They'll fix the timeline.
But the thing is... Did it really matter? Did it really matter when Wanda goes off the deep end and gets full broken?
It's just how she finds it.
I think we got.
Maybe you're right.
I think we got more out of the movie with Wanda being the bad guy from the jump. Because if she would have slowly turned into the bad guy, then
it would have been a 3-hour-long movie.
For one, it would have made the movie a lot longer. I think it was better just. I'm okay with the way they did it all. When he shows up in that apple orchard, and they're having that
kind
conversation.
Of a bomb drop.
Yeah, and he kind of, and she says,
No,
"You never told me her name's America, did you?" And he was like, "No, I didn't." And then you see that reality turn, kind of like the way Thanos did it when he had the reality stone.
Mm-hmm.
You see everything around her just turn into desolation, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And that's when you get that crazy line where she says, "You know, you break the rules and you're a hero. I break the rules and I'm a monster. How is that fair?" That's where you had that interaction. I was like, "God damn, that's awesome. That is phenomenally good."
I think it was weak for her to not try to fight him there and just go straight to getting America, because it seemed a little weak. She says, "We got 12 hours. I'll be there in 12 hours. I got to go do my nails." Okay?
Well, I think
classic villain line.
I think it still speaks to the fact that there's a little bit of decency in Wanda, a little bit of the good in her.
Okay.
Well, didn't she say this is me being reasonable?
But yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, is there is that like 10% of Wanda that still probably questions what she's doing, but there is that big part of her that's like, I had that taste of that life that I'd always wanted with my kids and my man and my happiness, my white picket fence, in my nice suburban town.
My crazy rich neighbor.
I want that back. I want my kids back, because like I said, she's been through so much. How many people with her powers wouldn't snap and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to force the issue. I'm going to force the rest of the world to give me that life that I've so desperately wanted from watching.
So I'm surprised she was even reasonable to let him have 12 hours.
Well,
like I said, there's probably a big part of her that doesn't want to blow the world up. Honestly, in the end, if you think about what Wanda really wants, she just wants her kids. She doesn't want to destroy the world. She will destroy the world to get what she wants, but that's not her desire. Yeah. If Strange would have just given over America and she would have taken America's power and done whatever, then maybe she wouldn't have gone on and destroyed all the other universes. But their problem is that she's already gone this far. We're pretty certain at this point that she's going to go a lot farther.
She would have enslaved the whole multiverse, right? Is that what you said?
They were worried about her destroying all the multiverse. Not taking it over, destroying it, in which case all life everywhere would have ceased.
Yeah.
And everyone thought Thanos was bad.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He only wanted to kill half the universe. He wants to kill the entire multiverse.
Yeah, that's you know what? I was never really on that argument, but I'm like, you know what? In context now, maybe Thanos wasn't such a bad guy.
Yeah.
She normalized him.
But yeah, let's take a minute to talk about all those fantastic cameos, though. It's like, I mean, a lot of people have kind of shit on Bruce Campbell being in the movie. I'm like, you know what? It's not supposed to be serious. I thought the post credit scene with him was funny. But I'm one of those people that I'm not really impressed when Marvel does the funny post credit scene.
Like you said, I hope they were switched.
You think it should have been first?
Was it Iron Man 3 where you had like that little like psychology session between Tony and Bruce? Was that the one?
Let's be honest. Iron Man movies are funnier than Doctor Strange movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're meant to be. They're meant to be
Yeah.
because Tony Stark is a very comical kind of character. He cracks his jokes, his one-liners are sarcastic bullshit, whereas Doctor Strange, while he can be plenty sarcastic, he's not necessarily comedic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Bruce Campbell's cameo I thought was funny. His post-credit scene though I thought was like meh. I mean, it was funny. I got a laugh out of it. But I really would rather have seen something that kind of pushes the larger MCU, kind of gives me a glimpse of that. Like, maybe that would have been a great place to have seen Namor, because one of the things that, one of the things I'd written down after I find it is that, let's see, Sam Raimi, blah, blah, blah. Oh, where the hell's it at? I fucking lost it. Oh, well. Oh, no, Scott Derrickson. When Scott Derrickson was going to direct, he had plans for debuting Namor the Submariner in this film. But now Namor will make his debut in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I don't know if that was... They were supposed to put that out on IMDb in the trivia section or not. But I actually went to Black Panther Wakanda Forever's IMDb page, and there's plenty of people that are listed in the cast and don't have character names next to them. And there's nothing on Wikipedia about it either, and there's not really any other place to look, because they're not going to release information like that willingly. So until the movie drops, so we'll find out about that in November. But yeah, I mean, I was hoping to see maybe some kind of an allusion to Namor, but no, didn't get it. It would have been
Mephisto
funny.
Either.
No Mephisto either. Look, I think we'll probably get Mephisto in the Agatha Harkness stuff. That makes a lot more sense. If he didn't show up in WandaVision, Agatha Harkness makes more sense. Yeah. But we didn't get the Tom Cruise as a Tony Stark variant controlling all the Ultron bombs.
Thank God.
But you know what? It would have been fun, but it wouldn't have been important. You know what I mean? It's like that cameo of Tom Cruise as Tony Stark. It would have been an Easter egg. It would have been a giggle. But it wouldn't have been important to the movie, especially considering that the Illuminati were only in the movie for like 3 minutes anyway before Wanda rolls in there and wreck shop.
Yeah.
So it didn't make it. I'm just fine with not getting that cameo. But I mean, the big one though, Mordor was interesting because where we see Mordor and Strange in their relationship at the end of the first movie. The idea is that when we see these two guys in the same room together again, they're going to have conflict. But we didn't see 616's Mordor. We get 838's Mordor, and he doesn't have this. And he actually still, from what I gather from watching the film, he's still considered Strange a brother, despite the fact that
he probably felt bad they killed him.
Well, he probably did, but at the same time, he's like, all of these people tend to think that every Strange in every universe is the one that has to use Christine's words, hold the knife. And so, and he has kind of the same problem that Tony is described as having at a couple points over the course of the MCU. Is he has to be the hero and save everybody, and sometimes getting your hands dirty and getting involved is not the right choice. Sometimes you just kind of have to back away and let either somebody else handle something or let the thing play out on its own. But you know, Christine alludes to that. It's like every Strange we've known, they have to be in charge. They have to be the one doing it. They have to be the one, you know, being the hero. And that's what leads to his decision in the end, ultimately, because he's sitting there and he's fighting with Wanda, and the decision is there. Do I take her power and do whatever and kill her, or do I do this? And then he comes to that realization in the moment. He's like, well, that's where everybody else seems to fuck up. So I'm just going to go ahead and go the other way and see if it works out better. And then, of course, America ends up, you know, knocking Wanda around, and then it all goes the way it goes. But
like it.
But yeah, the cameos I thought were fantastic. Cameos.
Fantastic.
This is where I started to let my speculation become my expectation, because they were talking about this movie being so insane compared to Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm like, well, that movie was pretty fucking insane. I was like, if this was going to go the next level, it seemed like a bunch of weird cameos were going to be one of the ways they did it. But it wasn't. They really kind of just did it with the interactions between Strange and Wanda, with the interactions between Wanda and Wong, just Wanda going full heel from the jump. That seemed to be the craziest shit that was going on. So I kind of dig that. But I mean, the cameos are pretty cool. I don't know, Cora, what do you think of the cameos?
I think they were great. I think they need to get a different app for Cleo. Charlize Theron before they do a movie, because she did not look good in that. But you know, whatever. I think they could have done more, like you said. But I think they did good with what they had. I mean, I love that they had Charles Xavier there, and I don't know much about the other characters, I'll be honest. But I think they did a good job.
Yeah, Jeremy, what do you think?
They could have done maybe more, but I think if they would have done more, it might have been too campy, maybe.
Well, if you do more, you start to clutter the movie.
I was about to say that next. That was my point. Like I'm fine with it because it would have been a little oversaturated even if you did quick. I mean, if you did like a Ready Player One type thing, where you see quick little bits of like everybody, and it's kind of fun. But I'm like, I don't know. That movie still to me doesn't even feel crowded, because I'm like, they're not calling you just see it. If you tried to have everybody have their one little line or call attention to it, it may have seemed like too much. I mean, I think the most fun they could have had with that is like, hey, here's all these people from the Illuminati, and you're like, oh, holy crap, there's Mr. Fantastic, and Maria Rambeau became Captain Marvel. We have Charles Xavier, seemingly from the X-Men comic/cartoon show, Captain Carter and the Blue Bolt. So I'm like, and I'm going back to that again. I'm like, I think that might have been a subtle funny joke of that it's from the comics, but maybe a what if joke, because I'm like, that looked kind of animated, and I'm like, well, we got Captain Carter, so
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even in what if they took like we were talking about, it kind of lessening the impact is like they took that Natasha out of that one world, and they're like, here you go, they lost theirs, you can be here. I'm like, okay. Weird.
Again, why I don't like the Multiverse of Madness, because
I know. I know it's probably not the same universes that we saw, but it was kind of like, hey, they lost their Natasha, and she. I mean, I get her. She didn't have. It was just what her and Clint left, and a whole bunch of Ultron bots. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want to live there either. So maybe it was kind of a better happy ending that she was like, okay, you can have your Natasha back for yourselves. I don't know, kind of, but I'm like, yeah, but the one we saw kind of did a big sacrifice. So
that's what I'm talking about. It's like
yeah,
and I've said it before. That's one of those beautiful scenes in the MCU. That whole scene with her and Clint, they're fighting to be the one who sacrifices himself for the greater good. And I'm like, how do more people not talk about that scene? Now, if they just go and bring her back, it's like you've just completely wiped out all the emotion of that scene for me.
Well, to be fair, Black Widow kind of wiped of any emotion anyway, because where I'm like, there's no suspense. I know she fucking lives. If that had been a setup movie, if that had been done before we started doing, like, say, before the first Avengers movie, that movie probably would have been more successful, because you're like, oh crap, like, this is a setup for, but I'm like, you show this now long after Endgame is over. I'm like, this is fun.
Let's face
this is fun, but I'm like, I don't care because I know what happens.
Let's face it, though. Disney in their absolute obsession with diversity, they wanted to give a female a lead role. I mean, look, I don't mind the movie. The movie was good. It wasn't the best MCU movie ever made. It's in the middle of the road. It was a fun ride. Was it absolutely necessary to the MCU? Oh, no, not at all. I mean, it did give us her sister.
At least you know how she got her jacket. You know that? Remember that thing? With all the pockets?
It did introduce us to her sister, which is fun. And it gave us, and it kind of let us explore her story a little bit more, where we didn't really have a chance to do that in any of the movies, because she was always a secondary character. But I mean, so it was a good movie, but meaningful to the rest of the MCU, with the exception of introducing her sister, who will probably play a prominent role in things moving forward. If not in the MCU, then maybe in the Disney Plus stuff, then sure. But I mean,
hey man, more Florence Pugh is always an A+ for me.
I do not argue that. I do like me some Florence Pugh.
She's awesome. She may be slightly a poser. She did it for a second.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get to that post-credit scene real quick, at least the one that really mattered, when Clea shows up out of nowhere and says to Doctor Strange, who now is apparently sporting the third eye. I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to mean just yet.
Illuminati confirmed. That's what that means.
Yeah. Is that...
opened his third eye.
There is another incursion in her universe that is causing chaos, and she is obviously here to try to scoop up Doctor Strange and to get his help in fixing it all. And then he says, sure, why not? And he does it again with the cloak. He throws it on. He turns in full uniform. They step through this gash in the space-time continuum, whatever the hell it was, that she cut open with her fancy magical blade. And then now they're off to whatever the next adventure is going to be for Doctor Strange, and that's where
whatever next Disney Plus movie.
Yeah, straight to Disney Plus for you. But that, of course, is Clea, who is the niece of Dormammu, who we saw Doctor Strange tangle with at the end of the first movie.
You say that again?
Her name
Dormammu?
is Clea. She is the
niece.
No. Yeah, she is the niece of Dormammu.
That's a terrible name.
Hey.
We got Mordau, Dormammu, whatever.
I don't know what's wrong with that name, but there's something wrong with it.
You don't forget it, because how many damn times he turned back time and keeps Dormammu of Conda Bargain?
I don't know. It's bad.
Just annoyed him
Worst
to
Marvel
no fucking
name I've heard ever.
Yeah, so we're going to see exactly where that goes here in a couple of years. The next movie comes out. What did you guys think of that scene? Are you at all interested in seeing Clea and what she's going to do? Because remember, one of the interesting things about this movie, as far as Stephen Strange is concerned, is he gets, at an emotional level, at a personal level, he gets closure on his relationship with Christine. Mm-hmm. In the comic books, Doctor Strange and Clea actually hook up and have kids. So part of the personal journey that he makes in coming to grips with him and Christine's relationship being what it is and will never be what he wanted it to be, is that it frees him up emotionally, at least as we're seeing it, to meet this girl Clea and eventually walk down that path. Perhaps. I don't know what they're planning on doing with it. But so that opens a lot of doors for Doctor Strange moving forward
even his meeting her is tied to Christine, because remember one of the last things 838 Christine says to him, with her hands on his face, don't be afraid. And then Clea says to him, what, are you scared? And he goes, no, I'm not. And you could tell that he was really harnessing that lesson that Christine gave him.
Yeah.
That.
Well, if you're about to do that, though, you might want to check with Uncle Dormammu first. He might be a little sore about that whole time turning shit. So
maybe.
I don't know. I mean, hey, even
Terrible name.
Charlize Theron, man. So I don't. Hey,
I'm surprised by her casting. I'll be honest. I didn't think she was an actor who had any interest in doing Marvel, but
no, she didn't play a superhero in one movie once that was totally not really that great. But hey,
was she?
So this might be.
Was she in the My Girlfriend's a Superhero? Oh, Hancock. Okay.
Hancock.
Oh no, that was Uma Thurman that was in that movie, wasn't it? My ex-girlfriend's a superhero or something like that.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Hancock.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. So it'll be better than that probably. So but you know what? At least hey, if you want to talk about Charlize Theron all you want, but at least it ain't fucking Harry Styles trying to be Thanos' brother.
Yeah, that doesn't work out at all for me.
No.
that next Eternals movie better be kick ass if you're gonna have that clown in there trying to act like he's some kind of a god from Titan.
Yeah. But, that's what I'm saying. It could have been so much worse. I'm not a fan of Harry Styles, really. I'm not trying to knock it, but I'm like, man, really?
Can he even act? Has he acted in anything before?
I don't know. I mean, he's
Harry Styles. Yeah, he's been in some. He did a rom-com or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else was he in?
So, you know what? To be fair, some of the Jonas Brothers have been into acting, and I'm like, well, they're not bad.
Yeah, but they're terrible.
Doesn't mean it's a good thing, Jeremy.
I know. I didn't say they were great, Frank. I'm just saying they've done it, and I'm like, well, you can do it.
Let me look real quick. Harry Styles was in something else that I saw earlier, and I remember not hating him, but I can't remember that he was any good at it either.
Did I say Rihanna was great
Probably
in
better than
the Battleship movie?
Let's be honest.
We don't talk about that Indiana Jones movie, man.
I'm just saying he's probably a better actor than him.
I don't know.
Let me find his film.
Let us know in the chat. Put that out in a poll.
Let's see. He was in.
Is Harry Styles possibly a better actor?
He was in Dunkirk. Dunkirk was a really good movie.
Yeah, Mike, wasn't he on the...
He was in Eternals. He's in this movie Don't Worry, Darling, that was directed by Olivia Wilde. That actually looks really good.
I have watched that preview 5 times, and I've tried to track down an original book it was based on. It's not based on a book. I have it marked on my calendar. I cannot wait to see that movie.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about that movie, because that was one of the movies that they put out there pretty heavily at CinemaCon a couple weeks ago. And that was actually the movie that she was up there talking about when she got hit with those custody papers. If you guys remember us talking about that, but I remember that's what else I saw him in that I thought looked interesting. But yeah, he was in Eternals as Eros, and he was in Dunkirk, which is really good.
I guess I don't know what he looks like for me not to recognize him. And, just know he's a boy band.
His TV stuff is all stuff like iCarly, Late Show, whatever, blah blah blah. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully they write it well, and he doesn't look like an actual tool like he does on almost everything else. Sorry, I'm to that age where it's stupid 21-year-old kids, stupid teeny boppers. Stay off my lawn.
I'm starting to get a little bitter myself.
We're getting up there, you know.
I'll bop to some like fucking what's her name, Olivia Rodrigo. I'm like, yeah, she's like 18 years old, but I'm like, I'm still starting to get a little like, yeah, get off my lawn as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait till you hit my age, buddy.
Man.
Aren't I older than you, Frank?
Wait till I don't know. I'll be 46 in 2 months.
Oh no, I'm younger than you.
Yeah, I'll be 46 in 2 months.
I'm over 40 now, but you know.
I'm cruising right into 30 this year.
You're the baby. That's okay.
I know.
The
next 2 things I was going to talk about kind of blended together. It's like, what questions are we left with, and kind of where do we go from here? Cora, I think I think Cora and I probably have a lot of. One big question is White Vision. Like when he flies off at the end of WandaVision, it makes sense that he didn't show up in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But now what? Now where is he? He's out there somewhere. What is his purpose moving forward? Is one of my questions. I mean, Cora, what do you think?
My concern is they're never going to answer it, and they're just going to leave it never answered, and it's just going to be like that was the end of it. We'll never know. Or he's up in space with whatever Samuel Jackson's character's name is.
Hey, or he's with Cap on the moon. You don't know.
Yeah,
something like that. I mean, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I'm really bitter about it. I'm not
what's
gonna lie.
what's scary about what you just said, Cora, is there is a little bit of precedence for this in the MCU. Now they're supposed to be they're supposed to be changing this with She-Hulk, but one of the big now part of this is because they can't make a standalone Hulk movie without making a deal with Universal. But the whole thing with Blonsky, with the Abomination in the Incredible Hulk, he's still out there. They have made references to him, not just in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but obviously in Shang-Chi when you see him in that cage fight thing, when you see Wong fighting him in the cage. And for the, I mean, I don't know, when did the Incredible Hulk come out? Was it 8 years ago?
2004, 5. It's a long time ago.
The one with
the Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton.
Yeah, I'd say 2004.
That was around the early 2000s.
It wasn't the Eric Bana. I know you're talking about.
Not the Eric Bana one, but the one that actually is part of the MCU. It's like, for years, people have said, look, he's obviously still alive. They name-dropped him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a couple of times. He shows up in Shang-Chi fighting Wong. It's like, so he's out there. But they've never gone back to him. And to top it all off, the leader. You remember when Blonsky gets that last transfusion that turns him into the Abomination, and you see Dr. Stern there, and he's been knocked around. He's got that open head wound, and Bruce Banner's blood is leaking into his cut, and you see it start to swell. He is the leader. He's one of the guys with a giant brain that is so much smarter than everybody else, can fuck everybody up. And it's like, that's out there. They've never gone back to it. And fans are like, you can't leave us hanging on these things. These things, you put them out there, you display them to us in such a wonderful way. And there has been no mention of Dr. Samuel Stern since then. There has been almost no mention of Abomination until we got to Shang-Chi.
And remember who was in the post-credit scene was Banner. So it's like, he's still here. Like, you still got the Hulk. He wasn't even Professor Hulk. He wasn't even that weird in between. It was just Bruce Banner as himself, and he's kind of like, "Hey, welcome to the shit show, kid." And I'm like, yeah. So maybe, like, I don't know why you would pick out of everybody, you'd pick him to come in for that credit, that scene with him and Shang-Chi and Wong. So maybe that's a hint towards something. And also, like, we were talking about, like, whatever the hell they were talking about with these rings. I'm like, there's something else with that, because they're like, oh, this shit's like older than you think. I'm like, what does that mean?
Tour Capture said 2008 was when the Incredible Hulk came out. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow, okay.
But it's been a long time.
Right before Iron Man. Yeah.
It's been a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
I think 2002 was the original one you're talking about. Yeah. Because I know that was like 2002 or 2003, because I was a kid. I went to see... You know what's funny? I was a little kid. I went to see that movie, and I absolutely little me trashed that movie. I was like, this is dumb. That's stupid. Oh, my God, why do you punch that dog? This is dumb. It was fun, but I was also like, this is the dumbest...
I thought those scenes were more funny than they were scary.
Yeah, like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I had my mom fucking laughing at everything I was fucking saying.
So
I was like,
cartoonish.
He picked up... I know it's 2000 whatever fucking animation too. I'm like, this Hulk did not pick up a little mutated dog and punch it right in the nads. I did not actually see that in a movie, and yes, I did. God damn it.
I'm going to see... Tour Capture reminds us that Tim Roth is the one that played the Abomination. I don't know if he's actually returning to play Abomination in She-Hulk.
Well, I would say that'd be your chance to do it then. If we're doing She-Hulk, you might be able to. Or
She-Hulk is an upcoming blah 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 blah.
Wait a minute, wait.
Oh, he is. He is coming back to play Blonsky.
Oh no, they took him off of, I'm sorry, I was thinking of Thor Ragnarok. I'm like, wait, no, they took him off of, they took Banner with them, right? So they don't have the Planet Hulk thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was like, damn it, wait, that could have also been, because with this new Thor movie, I was like, that could have also maybe been a way to explore that. Like with Planet Hulk or something, I don't know.
I just think there are too many holes. It's almost like the Marvel characters roster is too full, like the WWE, and they need to thin the herd and release some contracts. I just too many.
Somebody needs to.
Yes, Tim Roth is actually coming back to play Emil Blonsky, the Abomination, in She-Hulk, which actually is kind of cool.
Well, just like you were saying, like they didn't really explain how he got from there to, he's cage matching with Wong for some fucking reason. And then Wong even just kind of pieces out. I'm like, Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm hoping they explain that a little bit in She-Hulk as to why he was sparring with Wong, and why him and Wong seem to be friends.
Yeah, it was like friendly sparring too, not trying to cage match to the death. They were just like, yeah, good fight, buddy. And I'm like, what?
I was like, wait,
you guys are cool, but explain this.
You think they couldn't have used the Abomination in fighting Wanda? You think he would have been like, hey, bro, if I open a portal, can you come in and throw hands?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of help us out?
Wong could have poked his head and like, hey, bro, I need your fucking help here. You could have gone on the side of the mountain and just like open a little portal in front of his face, like, hey, come fucking help.
Yeah, come slap this chick, will you?
Right.
But,
get me up there.
But yeah, so the questions are, where do we go from here? I mean, the post-credit scene, well, the one of them anyway that matters,
well,
obviously sets things up for Strange.
They did say Doctor Strange will return, like they do in all the James Bond movies.
They do that in all the movies.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was the first time I've noticed it, but how long do you think we'll have to wait before we get? I don't know.
Aren't we getting a second? I know. I'm going to keep bringing this back. We're getting a second season of Loki.
We're supposed
I want it now.
So I know. I want it. I want it now. Trust me. I didn't dress up like this just to fucking look good. So
yeah, we're supposed to be getting a second season of Loki. They did say that they're actually going to do a second season of Loki. Moon Knight, I think they've already come out and said that Moon Knight will not be coming back for a second season.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Okay.
But they've also said that they have more plans for Moon Knight, so
I
would
don't doubt
imagine
that.
that's the universe.
He and Vision can have a movie together about nothing.
They can just be the white. They can be the White Knights.
Here we go.
Make a series.
They do have this thing out there called the Dark Avengers. It's
yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
Who is it? It's Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Blade. And one or two other people, I forget who.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly who, but
yeah, because aren't they in talks of getting somebody for Ghost Rider?
I don't know.
I mean, I've heard. Because I like with the timing now. Well, now it's already done filming. I'm like, they've said Norman Reedus. I'm like, that'd be dope. Because I mean, he would look badass like that. That'd be something he'd be into. And dude loves to fucking ride motorcycle. So I mean, why not? I'd be okay with that casting. That would be fucking sick. And now that Walking Dead's done, I'm like, hey man, step on over there. Get on your bike and fucking flame on. Whatever. I know it's the wrong movie, but whatever. Flame on. And if you don't at least do a little bit of a nod, like with Nicolas Cage, I mean, come on, that'd be kind of fun.
That would be kind of fun.
Maybe the guy he gets the bike from is Nicolas Cage.
That was one of the things that I kind of expected to see in this movie. I figured they were going to find coming into the movie before I saw it. I figured one of the ways that they would kind of move between universes was that Doctor Strange would concoct some spell, and then he would open up his little sparkly thing, and then he would kind of like flip through universes like that. So I really thought there would be that's how we would see someone like Hugh Jackman as Logan again, because he'd open one up and he'd be like, no, that's not it. Then he'd open another one up. No, that's not it. He'd open another one up, and then Logan would turn around and be like, what the fuck do you want? And then he'd close that one, and then they open another one up, and it'd be Nicolas Cage on his bike, like, what the hell? And then they flip that one away, and then open another one up. I really thought that some of the cameos would come like that. They would be really quick. They wouldn't be significant. They'd be funny. They'd be like blink and you miss them. I really thought there'd be some stuff like that, but there wasn't.
You know what you could have done, Frank, because you said even if it was just like footage that they've already used, you could have just like superimposed like Strange trying to come through a portal behind Logan, and he just goes, "Go fuck yourself," and he's like, "Okay,"
yeah,
and just walks back in. Walks back in.
Never mind.
I'm Charles Xavier. Go fuck yourself. Okay.
He's too classy for that.
Who is?
Charles Xavier.
Oh no, I'm just saying that. I was like, Logan, that's as classy as Logan gets. You kidding me?
That's Logan.
All right,
Logan, a big Snoke, he's like, go fuck yourself. Great.
Like, hi, I want to talk to you. Go fuck yourself. That's one of the best scenes of that movie.
That is one of the best like little cameos ever. Love it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, the big question is, where do we go from here? And with the next movie coming out being Thor: Love and Thunder, I don't know that it's going to connect a whole lot or even really mention the stuff going on here, because most of this is supposed to be happening out in space anyway. So
maybe more Nick Fury.
Hopefully we'll see some Nick Fury. I mean, we didn't see Nick Fury in this one, but at least no variants of Nick Fury or anything. I think that might have been fun.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the big question: is where do we go from here? The only other two Marvel movies coming out this year are Thor: Love and Thunder, which comes out in a couple of months, and in November we're going to finally figure out how they plan on dealing with Black Panther when Black Panther: Wakanda Forever comes out. It's going to be interesting to see. That's what I'm interested to see right now, is how they're going to approach that character in that world without Chadwick Boseman. But again, in Feige I trust. They've got a plan. Apparently, all the other people involved in the movie read the script and thought it was good enough to come back and continue to be a part of it. So, if they're confident this is going to work, then I'm gonna let their confidence be my confidence. I'm interested to see how they do it. And then after that, I really don't know what the Marvel calendar looks like after that. Let me bring it up real quick. Let me go to. Come on. The funny thing is since release schedules and everything have started to fill up again, IMDb does not usually have the extended release calendar like they usually do.
Oh.
So
that's because I know people like you and I are looking at that shit.
Well, I mean, because of everything that's gone on lately with COVID and things being so screwy. Delays. Even now, people are looking at it and they're like, okay, when the hell are we going to make this movie? But let's see, going into... December, January, Kraven the Hunter, which is probably not going to have a lot to do with it, comes out in January. Ant-Man comes out in February. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania comes out in February. Aquaman is not involved in this. And Guardians of the Galaxy in May. That's the only stuff that's on the schedule right now. At least what's on IMDb. I'm sure there's other stuff. But, that's the only thing IMDb has listed right now is 2 other movies in the MCU that are coming out in 2023. Ant-Man and Guardians in January and May. So now Ant-Man Quantumania could have a little bit more to do with this. Maybe.
I have so many questions about Ant-Man. I'll save it for another episode because I can't. There's so much there. Behind.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how Ant-Man is either going to be affected or mentions this, because while it does deal with some crazy shit like the Quantumverse, it doesn't deal with the Multiverse. So I don't know how those two things are going to be interchangeable. I don't know how they're going to work together.
Oh well, we're doing Frank's other fun thing that he loves, time travel.
Just go back in time and get him before he dies. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's just go back in time and get all the Infinity Stones and more Pym particles. Meh. Whatever. Like, part of the fun of watching these movies is the struggle just to get the one thing they need to do what they have to do. It's like Thanos. Thanos cruised the galaxies and the universes to find the Infinity Stones. You motherfuckers are just like, Tony Stark died? Oh, we'll just go back in time, go to a different multiverse, and grab this guy. Oh, here he is again. Go get him again, Iron Man. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, someone mentioned,
Thanos
too, I'm
is
like,
so much more badass than you guys are.
You know what would be a fun little series, little one-off series, too, would be, it's one of those, like, I don't need to see it, but it'd be fun, is like a little series of, Cap putting back all the stones, and then eventually ending up with Peggy Carter.
They've been saying that for a long time. It's like maybe a Disney Plus series.
If he's coming back, I'm like, if that's what it is, I'd be fine with that. That'd be fun to watch, like the whole thing of him when he put back all the stones and ended up with her.
I've heard a lot of people talk about how cool it would be to see a Disney Plus series. Like it doesn't even need to be long. It's like there's only 5-6 stones. Like one per episode. One episode of him putting a stone back where it goes and the interaction he has with people. And at the end of it, he ends up going back to hooking up with Peggy back in 1940s after the war's over, and they can live a life, and that's his happy ending. Just kind of display that. I think that'd be awesome. I don't think Disney's going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. I think it'd be awesome, though.
It'd be sweet.
But the problem is everybody's been shitting on a lot of the stuff that Marvel's been doing lately, so why would Marvel do something that more people are just going to shit on? Because people are going to kind of be assholes like me, and they're going to be like, this is pointless, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, well, fuck you. I just want to see Chris Evans kicking ass. And I mean, would it be cool to see Chris Evans roll
do this all day.
Red Skull one more time? It's like he goes up to where was he at? Where the Soul Stone is at. Where Red Skull's at.
Oh, what's that place? Yeah.
Oh, where that cliff's edge is?
The planet.
Where they sacrifice someone.
But, to see him go up there and they have a conversation and some dialogue, maybe even throw hands one more time. But But then he's just like, no, I just want to give you the stone, bro. Here you go. He turned around and bails. It's like, I'm out of here. See ya. I'm done fighting with you. I killed you once, damn it.
Because I don't see how he would.
At least Chris Evans and whoever plays Peggy Carter are young enough that years from now they could do something like that.
If she was willing to come back as Captain Carter, I mean, shit, why not?
Yeah, but coming back for a six or 7 episode run is so much different than spending 4 days in the set filming your shit for Doctor Strange. I mean, you're talking about 3-4 months of filming as opposed to like a week. I mean, I don't know what else she's got going on right now off the top of my head.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into a little bit of trivia, shall we? I did mention earlier that Scott Derrickson was going to put Namor the Submariner in the film when he was still attached to be a director, but instead, Namor is going to make his debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm excited as hell about that. I mean, I'm curious as to how they're going to use him. I mean, is he going to be kind of an anti-hero at first, someone they feel like they're fighting, and then eventually they have to come together to fight a bigger threat? I think that's kind of played out. I think that's a TV show version of events, but I don't know. That's one question. I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you think Namor is going to be used in Black Panther?
Never heard of him till today. So.
He's basically the MCU's version of Aquaman.
Okay. Is this somebody you think they could try to do a segue to have his own movie?
Oh yeah.
From being in a movie?
Yeah, you could.
The problem is I think that Namor's rights are owned by, I think, Universal.
There was a thing I was trying to find to show somebody at work, and I think I had to search through like my Facebook, but it came up in my memory I think yesterday. It was a cool thing side by side it's funny because I didn't know what it was yet. Now that it is out and I saw it again, they have comparisons between these two characters that are in DC and Marvel. And it's like there's Namor and Aquaman. There's like Darkseid and Thanos. Dr. Fate and Doctor Strange, of course. One of them was Moon Knight and Batman. Green Arrow and fucking Hawkeye. It was compared, and they had like the dates of when they were released. Most of them were like, what's her name? Black Cat and Catwoman. Most of them are like all the DC ones were much sooner. A lot of the Marvel ones were later. Deathstroke and Deadpool, which you didn't even try to not make them basically the same, but with something like Deadpool, I mean, whatever. Yeah, it was fun little comparisons like that. So that's the only way I knew who that was. I'm like, who the hell is Namor? And when it said Aquaman was the comparison,
cool
like,
name.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, neat.
There's the Aqua guy in the Hellboy. That character was pretty cool. Ben Abraham. Abraham is the name he called himself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how they're going to fill the void without Chadwick Boseman. Maybe they're going to kind of use this movie to kind of hand off kind of his place in the MCU to Namor. Maybe, I don't know. We'll find out in November. All I know is, like I said, in Feige I trust. I'm sure he's got an idea.
This movie does not build up trust in him. It leaves me waiting for more material to build trust. I'll say that.
Remember this. Think about where the MCU is at right now. We just got done with the Infinity Saga a couple of years ago with Endgame. Now there is going to be a rebuilding period where they decide where they're going next. Because now look, and I was thinking about this not too long after Endgame came out. Whatever Marvel was going to do was going to pale in comparison to everything they did with the Infinity Saga. So if I were them, and I think Kevin Feige is a lot smarter than I am, so I'm sure he's probably thinking this too. At this point, you just make quality product. It doesn't have to be as big as Thanos again. Just make quality movies. That's all you got to do. People will continue to come back because of the characters and the great stories. You don't have to have another 20 movies in 14 years building up to one big moment of Tony Stark doing this and snapping the bad guy away. You can do things a bit differently now. You can explore the world, the comic book characters a little bit, and then as you're creating this new world, you can kind of figure out your point that you're going to bring it together and do something else like the Avengers or have some other kind of mashup thing. So he's taking his time. Now, have the last several movies been as good as Infinity War? Oh no, they haven't been close. I mean, as much as I like the Spider-Man movies, I don't think any of them are in my top 10. This movie, Multiverse of Madness, I thought was a very good movie, not in my top 10. There's some holes in it. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, they're rebuilding. They tore it all down. Now they're rebuilding it back up, and I think what they build is going to look pretty good once we get there. Give it about 4 or 5 years, because now they've got a whole new set of characters to work with now with Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Sure. So there's so many stories. There's literally thousands of characters that they can tell different stories on. Give them a few years to get these stories put together, and I guarantee they'll be back on top soon. Go ahead.
To that note, I saw it on TikTok, and I think they said it on like the morning show of some sort. They're like, Marvel is like the longest continuous story ever told. They're like, how many characters, how many universes, how many millions of pages of comic books? They're like, this is actually the single longest story that's ever been told. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You got plenty of stuff you can go off and explore and do whatever you want with. So, that's the fun of it. Like
and while it sucks that Chadwick Boseman passed away, and it severely limits what they can do with the Black Panther character, there are a lot of characters that can move in and occupy that space in the larger universe. Now they're not going to be the same. They're not going to be the same character, but you've got the 5 OG Avengers that were standing there for that wild shot in the Avengers movie of the camera coming around them all. As those guys fall off, there's lots of characters you can put in there. You can build these characters up into something that people really, really like. And then next movie you have where they all have to get together to fight something. Maybe it's Galactus, maybe it's Doctor Doom. Now that he's going to be in the universe at some point. Another one that I thought we might get a hint of in this movie, but we didn't. Now, there's other people you can plug in there now after you build up their profile in the MCU, and I think it's going to be good when they do it.
If you build,
I think that's a positive attitude.
Build up to Galactus. I'm like, that'd be your big fucking bad that you want to deal with. Also, you got the Eternals, you got these Celestials and shit out there. Holy shit, go with that. Yeah. You want to talk about going bigger and badder? Holy crap, go that route.
And not to mention, you got Blade. Who the hell knows who Blade's going to fight?
Oh my god, that's true.
I think they're filming Blade now, as I recall. Did we talk about that a while back? But I mean, it's like the Eternals. I mean, the Eternals are going to be this very ethereal space, semi-religious kind of weird take on the Marvel universe. I mean, that could bring a lot of cool stuff.
My friend just mentioned that too when we watched Eternals. I'm like, is no one going to mention the fact that this thing just like came out of space or like blew a hole in half this planet? Like, are we gonna address that? Like, when did this happen? You know what I mean?
You think while they were sitting there in that diner talking, Doctor Strange and America Chavez and Wong, somebody would have been like, so did you have anything to do with that thing going on over the ocean with that big guy that came out of the water and almost ripped the earth in half? What multiverse is he from?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you might want to address the fact that shit just about tore a whole planet in half, so... Yeah.
But anyway.
Can I ask you guys a question?
That's a big bomb for the TVA to try and reverse that shit. That's what I'm saying.
No doubt. Go ahead, Cora.
So, whether it's Strange or Wong or, whoever is, a person, I forget, Supreme, but it's Sorcerer Supreme, is that role really pivotal for the long game for Marvel? Or do you ever see a future with Marvel where there is no Doctor Strange, there is no Wong, there is no... presence of their little group of sorcerers?
I think they're always going to exist. As far as their relevance to the MCU, I'm sure it's going to fade away at some point. Now, the Sorcerer Supreme is more important to Doctor Strange's storyline than it is to the larger MCU. Because, I mean, when Doctor Strange comes back at the end of Endgame to start mixing it up with all the guys in the big battle against Thanos, he wasn't technically the Sorcerer Supreme then. He actually mentions in the Spider-Man movie that he's not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore, but he did everything he did in that movie without being the Sorcerer Supreme. I think it's mostly just a title inside the structure of the magicians rather than something that's important to the MCU.
Someone actually pointed out they noticed that even in Endgame and Infinity War, like, he still wasn't on top of his shit. Like, he was actually still, like, kind of, his hand was still shaking a little bit when he was trying to do his spells. So I'm like, yeah, he was still working his way back from having being injured, and it's amazing that he learned what he did given his limitations at the time. But like, even when he's still trying to do stuff, you can still actually see his hand shaking a little bit when he's trying to cast. I'm like, yeah. So
yeah.
I think now he's definitely got it together.
I was just curious if they could kill him off anytime and unexpectedly never hear about him or this organization ever again, or is there a reason why he would never be killed off? So, excuse me. Yeah.
Because it's a multiverse, there are multiple strangers.
Yeah,
Who
there's
cares?
like a million strangers. Go plug another one out of the multiverse somewhere. But one thing I didn't realize till I was reading this.
Are there any left though? After that one guy said he killed most of them.
I don't know.
Oh, that's true. That one guy did say, yeah, he's like, that was hilarious and kind of scary. He's like,
did you ever have dreams about being pushed
dream where you're falling? That was probably me. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker. That's funny.
Are there any strangers left?
That's true.
Well, it depends on how many multiverses there is.
No, the Christine character said she named as many as she had the number 838 up to theirs, and America said she'd been to 80 some.
There's a good number, so.
Well, I think the comic book universe for the Marvel universe is technically counted as Earth number 199999 or some shit like that. So, I mean, we're already looking at thousands of multiverses. So, if she's only numbered 800 of them and America Chavez has only been to 80-something of them, then there's probably another couple of thousand out there somewhere at least that... Or maybe the multiverse is infinite.
That's what I'm thinking. It's infinite reality.
Because when you're thinking about something of the scale, the size and scale, there is a legit possibility that it's infinite.
Anything, yeah.
Or that if there is an end, you never know that you've gotten to it. So,
something... I did not see, which I didn't think they were going to do, but it would have been cool if they had. If in that space between spaces when they were trying to get that book, if the fucking Watcher just popped into the fucking sky, like, hey, that would have been pretty sick. Don't mind me,
guys, just making sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, that Ultron guy. Scary.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, that one Ultron who figured out the multiverse thing. It's like, oh, shit.
He's like, damn it, not you guys again.
Yeah.
But also... Just going to something that Jeremy said earlier, Sam Raimi's own 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88 makes a cameo in the decaying universe of Evil Doctor Strange. The car appears in all of Sam Raimi's films.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that was definitely that car because it's in all of his movies.
Yeah, it's actually the car that in the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire that
it's Uncle Ben's car.
Uncle Ben was driving when he was shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Even
right.
though I don't think technically it's Sam Raimi's movie, it was also in the remake of Evil Dead. It's kind of there at the cabin. It's kind of disheveled in the corner. Like, they're sitting on the hood, like, having a conversation. I'm like, I had the Leonardo DiCaprio moment. I'm like, dude, there's the car. I'm like, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
But also, something I did not realize is this was Sam Raimi's first feature film as a director in 9 years.
Damn.
Oh.
The last one he directed was Oz the Great and Powerful that came out in 2013.
You don't have to count the last 2 or 3 years because everything was fucked up. So, 6 active years of not directing.
Yeah, that's a while for a director, especially someone like Sam Raimi.
Well, but that's what I said about this movie. 2 things that Sam Raimi does very well. He does horror and superheroes pretty fucking well. And this movie was a good blend of both.
It was.
I already kind of blew my that was going to be my closing thoughts, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to say it now because holy crap.
Also, at one point, and you guys see, I put it up right here on the thing. I love that line. Charles looks at Mordor and says, "Just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they are lost forever." This is a direct quote from X-Men: Days of Future Past, when older Professor Xavier, played by Stewart, says the same thing to his younger self, played by James McAvoy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, and I teared up when I heard that. I was like, and then I got caught up in the action.
There was a few little tags from Patrick Stewart that were like that I was like, ooh, that's good. That's good. I like that. There was also something. Was it when he was talking with Wanda when he was when he was in her mind, trying to pull her out? I want to say there was something he said to her that reminded me of some other piece of dialogue from the past. I forget what it was.
I don't recall.
I don't recall either. Damn it! I'll have to go watch.
I was so upset about his impending death. It was
I was so in the moment hoping he would do it, and then I saw that little red wibbly cloud come behind him, and I was like, "Damn it!"
You know what was great about that scene though was when Wanda comes out of that red cloud. It's like she wasn't just mean Wanda. It's like her face looked like it was not zombified, but I mean it looked evil. It looked like she was a demon.
Mm-hmm.
She was a Scarlet Witch completely.
And I was like, damn, that was the full on bad Wanda that didn't give a fuck about anything. But yeah, I thought that shot was really cool. Also, While most MCU films are released under the genres of action, drama, comedy, fantasy, and sci-fi, this is the first film to be released under the horror genre. They actually label this as a horror movie. Yes. Because Disney does not... I mean, they don't do horror, generally speaking, and they don't do anything R-rated. And that's been a big topic of discussion the last couple of years after they bought stuff from Fox. This was not R-rated.
No.
I
think Sam Raimi was trying to push it. Like, how far can I go with this?
It was real
because I mean,
close.
when I saw that Strange get impaled, I'm like, this is fucking Disney.
Let me just say, as someone who doesn't like horror movies, watching Wanda dream walking in the nice Wanda wearing jeans, the no shoe thing has to be some reference to horror movies. I don't know what, with the hair dripping down and blood and mud all over her face and in her hair.
That's like classic serial killer shit. Or
I didn't see the movie The Grudge, but I've seen little clips of it on trailers. It made me think of like in Carrie and The Grudge and all these other things. I'm just like, I was like, is this really?
Didn't she?
This is really dark.
No, because when she came out of that reflection, I'm like, that's some shit from The Ring. When she kind of like crawled out of the fucking, I was like, that no, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the horror elements of this movie.
I mean
everything from the way Wanda is a demon.
Pretty much.
The Scarlet Witch that we're getting in this, and she is 100% evil with amazing powers. I mean, again, to remind you guys, Wanda is powerful as fuck. She was kicking Thanos' ass. And if Thanos did not have the ability to call down Hellfire and even distract her, she was going to squash him like a fucking bug. Yeah. That's how powerful she is.
I get that line where she's like, she was up there and could have done it the whole time. I'm like, right.
Yeah, it's like, and if you think about it, one of the things that everybody dogs Marvel on is the villains. Like, Wanda is an Avengers level threat. It's like she is one of those people, like, you kind of wonder how Doctor Strange beat her alone. I mean, yeah, Wong was there at the end, and America Chavez was there at the end. But, I mean, she is so powerful that, like, I mean, look, she whooped Maria Rambeau's ass, who has all the powers that Carol Danvers has. She is Miss Marvel in that universe.
She the next strongest one.
Yeah, she whooped Peggy Carter's ass, who's got all the super soldier serum, the shield, and all that. She literally shredded Mr. Fantastic. Yeah. She takes somebody whose mere voice can melt your entire existence and dissolve you, and makes him blow his own head off. She takes Charles Xavier, who has been talked about as the most powerful mutant ever, and it's just like, snap.
Yeah.
And with all of his mind powers, she was ready for that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, someone who has get into your head that she can, and also with him, I was like, oh my god, I want to see what happens with this, because, like, their two minds going at it. I was like, ooh, let's see what happens.
And
here.
The crazy part about it
could have been longer. Let's be honest.
The crazy
that
part
would have been cool if that sequence had been a little bit longer.
But the crazy thing about it is, it's like he didn't even stand much of a chance.
No, that's what
it's like me. He goes in there and she kind of watches. She's like, "Oh, you're in my head. Okay, here comes the red cloud." And it's like, I mean, I wonder, even if he would have been able to have pulled Wanda's good self out from under the rubble. I mean, what would they have done together? It's like, you're in Wanda's mind, and her mind is pretty fucking strong. So
I think that was also just to showcase that she can go toe to toe with all these people from the Illuminati and Professor X, and just take them out like they're a bunch of chumps. Like, and that was her. I mean, technically, she was doing some Inception shit. That was not even really her, so to speak. So I'm like, God damn, she was doing this through some other version of herself.
Yeah, Wanda is no fucking joke. But again, I love the horror, like the whole chase in that tunnel. It's like the whole time I'm thinking to myself, this is like the serial killer that's walking after the last two people that are alive in the forest, and they're all running down this tunnel, and she's just limping after him, but she's never more than 10 or 15 feet behind him. It's like I got that.
That's the final girl circuit.
Freaking out. If I'd been at home watching it on streamers, I'd been screaming heavy, run, just. Don't stand there! Stop waiting at the door!
See, I hate that I've watched so many movies and also just horror movies. I mean, when they shut that door and then she just stops, and I'm like, why are you standing there still? I'm like, no, you really think it was going to stop her? Go, damn it! And I'm like, I know it was set. I did not flinch, which I'm like, whatever. She just, boom, comes in. I'm like, yeah, I saw it coming. I didn't even flinch. I'm like, yeah, that was scary, but okay, cool. run now, get out. You just blasted that shit like it was
staring at the door, like, I wonder what's going to happen. Maybe you've never seen this movie,
holding a bag of popcorn when that scene happened. First time. And half the bag of popcorn ended up on the floor after she popped through the wall.
Yeah.
And again, that right there is a jump scare, which you don't usually get a lot of in Marvel movies. I mean, that's a horror movie staple, is the jump scare. That's what that was. You're watching back towards that door, and she just goes, bloop, and I'm like, whoa. It didn't necessarily, I didn't jump out of my seat, but I was like, oh yeah, that's the jump scare. That's the moment. I mean, I said, out of nowhere, and she's in your face.
I said, oh shit, because I'm like, oh god, there she is, but I didn't like jump. I don't know. The horror movie and fan of me and the DC fan of me was like, I like this. This was dark. This was brutal. I loved it.
And that scene happened. I looked over at Jennifer and I was like, nice. Like, that's good. But yeah, and when she opens that first door and you get that shot that you get in one of the trailers of her, like, her eyes red, and she's got the oil and the blood and shit all over her, and she's obviously damaged from that fight that she had with the Illuminati. She's obviously hurt and kind of mangled. I'm like, good God, that's a crazy looking horror shot right there. I love those aspects because the opening part of the film is very Marvel-y, but from then on, there's a lot of darkness in there, especially once you realize just how off the deep end Wanda's gone.
Yeah, keep Sam Raimi around. I was like, if you want to have that meme of Black Panther, get this man another movie. You know,
yeah, no doubt. But yeah, I'm very, very curious as to where things go from here, both for Doctor Strange and for the MCU. Because if you think about it, I don't remember if they mentioned it in the movie or not. But someone says, "Why don't we call the Avengers?" Are the Avengers even still around right now? I mean, because after at the end of Endgame,
right?
He said that maybe comment about let's get you back on the lunchbox. Is anybody on the lunchbox? That was my first response.
Yeah, I was wondering if like Nick Fury was about to get a call, be like. He's gonna be motherfucker. Just take off. I don't know. That would have been kind of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, what is the current state of the Avengers? I mean,
you don't know. I don't. I want to know the timeline compared to the Loki timeline. Like, is this before, after Loki went to TVA and then TVA went tits up? I don't know. I just want to know what.
I think that's what set this off because you saw the multiverse starting to kind of unravel and things were going wild.
You think that's tied into TVA stuff?
Kevin Feige did say something about that. He said the events of Loki did open the... What was the exact quote? It was something at CinemaCon. I don't remember the exact quote. But something that it opened the door or had something to do with the events of this movie. But it's not really expressed. It's not really expressed in this movie exactly what the events of Loki did to cause this or to impact it in any way.
Unless maybe that's what she was talking about, this incursion, something else somewhere else in the universe is going on. Maybe something unraveled and that's what happened. Or maybe, like you said, Kang the Conqueror is like...
Loki thing? Tangents or tears?
The Terrigen Mist?
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Because remember, Kang the Conqueror said, like, I'm everywhere. I've been in every timeline, every universe, everything. I'm always there. I'll see you again. I'm like, shit. He's going to be a problem. So... maybe he started some shit somewhere else in the multiverse, and now we gotta go clean that up.
I just wish they would have made that clear, that the Loki stuff had been tied in. But maybe we have to wait till season 2 of Loki, and they're gonna make some reference to this in that. Fucking better if they're gonna tie these two together somehow.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
No doubt.
I hope I show up again. maybe with a prosthetic hand. I don't know. That fucking alligator bit my hand off.
But also, I mean, for all the people shitting on Marvel villains, I mean, I don't know. Wanda was up there with Thanos in this movie.
Did you see that Elizabeth Olsen responded? She goes, "I rarely watch myself on film, and I know I'm getting some hate right now, but I just don't care."
Well, whatever.
Good for her.
One of the things she also has is a bigger bank account than we do.
Yeah. But also, like, you wouldn't go toe-to-toe with Wanda, so fucking screw yourself.
But
sisters are worth billions. She's not too worried.
Before we go to our final thoughts on this, I do want to go to the chat and see what some of you guys have been saying over the course of the stream. MK Kratos says, "Do you guys have plans to review Halloween Ends when it comes out?" Absolutely, and when we do that, that's going to be another 5 months away. So that absolutely is going to happen when that comes out. And you're more than welcome to join us on that one once we get there. I think that'll be fun.
You know what's this week?
You can have my spot because I don't do horror.
You did this movie.
But I didn't know this was okay.
Nah, you didn't have a choice. You weren't ready.
Hey, we have been talking for a long time about how Sam Raimi was a horror guy, and that they were going to incorporate a lot of horror elements into this movie. We've been talking about that for a while. So you had to have had some idea. Now, granted, this is not a full-blown horror movie like a traditional horror film, like a Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that.
You guys are softening me up a little bit to the horror genre.
Yeah, that doesn't at least help you get in there. That's anything you saw in this. Like you'll watch another movie and be like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely there it is."
Let's see. Awandi said he gives it a 6.5 out of 10. That he saw it twice. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I might go 7.
I would say
but I don't like to give movies scores like that.
Did you see this in the theater again, Frank, or are you waiting for DVD?
I'm gonna go see it again in the theater. I usually go because my youngest son Max is a big Marvel guy, and he's trying to start his own little movie review channel thing eventually.
Hey,
but yeah, I usually go and screen a lot of movies before I take them to see him because he'll be 15 this year, but. I still want to know what we're getting into. This is one of the ones that I was kind of like, I kind of want to go see it first just to make sure.
Can I make a suggestion?
What's that?
At the end of this movie, tell him, if you date girls, it will turn into this.
Yeah.
Don't date.
It's like, this is what happens. When you kiss a girl, this is what happens. Don't ever kiss girls. Don't kiss anybody. Just be yourself. Just read books. Read a lot of books. Go to school.
You'll notice a pattern every month, child. That's what it is.
Boy!
Hey, the overriding color of this whole thing is red. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God! I opened the door and you.
I went with the green today. Complain. You're welcome.
I did red for a reason. That's why I did all that in the red.
Oh no!
That would show up red.
I had to balance it out. I'm sorry. I got you.
Awandi also says release
Very
the Raimi cut.
Christmassy on the stream. If you look at it.
You what?
Very Christmassy, the red and the green.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm probably like totally opposite of Frank. He's got all this dark and this red, and I've got surprisingly, I'm the one who's in all the colors.
Strange. Red was green and green was red in that other universe for walking crosswalks and shit.
That's right.
Hilarious.
So maybe we are technically correct.
Maybe.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe. Yeah.
In this universe, I don't know.
I've had to play with my lighting a little bit because the soft light that I have over here on my left, it
actually looks nice.
It puts a wicked glare on that board. So I have to toy with some where I can put some lights to where it doesn't glare on that board so bad. Because the first time I put it on there, it was like this corner right in here. The glare was so bad you couldn't really read it. So that's why I've kind of gone to the LED lights I usually use when we do the Derailed After Dark stuff with the post show. Huh? I just kind of switched to doing those and just putting the white ones on and having the one soft light on.
That's why, yeah, like this thing, this thing reflects, and also it's got a backlight. And like you turn it on, it just looks like a big light square. It's just right there.
Yeah,
I had to play with that thing too.
But see, Awandi also says, "Let me go search for the kids that I never had." But oh no, I lost it. Where'd it go? Let's see. This is what happens.
You said release the.
Not give a shit about Vision.
Let me go search. Let me go search for the kids that I never had, but forget about Vision. Where the fuck was Vision? White Vision, no Vision in other universes. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean where? I mean, I figured now that Wanda's dead, what purpose is there for Vision? Now, again, this is not the same Vision. He may not have the emotional...
Why he wasn't there? Because they knew she was going to die?
I don't know.
So they didn't want to introduce
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it kind of resets it.
It's hard to know without him showing up.
Yeah.
If he'd have showed up and been like, "You're not my Wanda, screw you," and then flew off, and then she drops the on herself, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But
he'll never know. So.
Yeah, but I don't know. But like I said, look, we're not done seeing Wanda in this universe. Nah. We're going to see her again at some point in some form, probably in the form of the girl that we saw that she took her body and dreamwalked her or whatever. I would imagine we'll see that version of Wanda again, the good girl who doesn't want to tear shit up, because she doesn't feel as broken as the Wanda that we have had up to this point in the MCU. So she seems pretty happy in her life, with or without baby daddy in the picture, whether baby daddy was there or not. So
maybe he was out.
I don't know.
Or maybe they're divorced and they live in separate houses.
Maybe.
But is it Vision? Does Vision do divorce? I don't know.
Is that even Westview? Where is that?
Yeah, exactly. Was that Westview? Where was she at?
Yeah, what was that?
Was she in the suburbs of Chicago somewhere? Who the hell knows? I don't know.
It didn't quite look like the same house. It was kind of similar, but not... I didn't even think about that until just now. I'm like, wait. I know. With that quote in Loki. Okay, I have about 1 million questions.
nice.
Awandi also says the multiverse thing is getting too complicated. I agree.
That's why it's the multiverse.
I understand that it's there. I understand that it's a tool that they can use for the purpose of storytelling. I just hope they use it sparingly. Because
whoever came up with this idea should go fuck himself because I think they were onto something before it.
Well, remember, multiverse.
You wouldn't have me dressing up like this all the time.
Multiverse stories were created in comic books to help reboot stories or to tell different stories. Because there's one Batman, but there's 25 different storylines of what he does. There's one Superman, but there's 25 different storylines. Same thing with all the Marvel characters. There's one Iron Man, but there's 35, 40 different storylines. And one of the things the multiverse did in the comic books is it kind of helped bring all that shit together. And it's like, oh, now it's not just they exist in these different stories. They're all in the same multiverse. They're just on different levels, different planes of universes. And that helped them tell different stories. And that's okay for the comic books.
It's fun.
For the movies, I'm like, screw you. It's terrible for the movies and television. Look, I can tell you right now that where the Arrowverse went wrong is when they started this multiverse shit. That was when Arrow took a big hit. The Flash took a really big hit. That show's been on kind of a steady decline ever since. It's the Legends of Tomorrow, which is basically their entire shtick is multiverse and time travel and all that bullshit. That show, I don't know how it's lasted as long as it has, but that show's going to be done at the end of this year too.
Flash was also taking big hits on other people.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, wrong Flash.
Choke slamming chicks in Hawaii and Norway.
Wrong universe. Yeah, not that one.
Yeah, that's universe 1999999. but yeah, I mean, so yeah, if they overuse this, it's going to hurt the MCU in my opinion. So I absolutely agree with you on that. Wandy also said they did Mr. Fantastic dirty, but did they though? They did this universe's Mr. Fantastic dirty. There's a bunch of other universes, and I have a feeling that when we see the Fantastic Four movie, we're going to be getting the Reed Richards and Sue Storm and all the people of that universe. Now, will he ever know about what happened to the Reed Richards that was part of the Illuminati and got shredded like Spaguli or whatever, some weird name of a linguini? But will he ever know? Maybe, maybe not. But
he dreamed about it, though. He'll know.
Right.
The main
He'll hug his kids a little tighter the next morning.
I'll have a nightmare of that, yeah.
The main purpose...
I think that's how they'll introduce him, Frank, to be honest.
The main purpose is that you introduce that these people actually exist in the multiverse now. Now you've opened the door for the Fantastic Four movie. That was the main purpose. Because I know a lot of people have freaked out saying there wasn't enough Illuminati. Well, the Illuminati was not the purpose of the movie. The movie is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, not the Illuminati in the Multiverse of Madness.
We have to remember that these characters weren't a part of our Earth at all. So they really don't matter at all.
But
it's there, but it doesn't mean it's the central
and part of them being in the movie was to serve as not cannon fodder, but they needed to be the ones that stepped up to Wanda. And Wanda, I mean, make no mistake, at this point in the movie when she wipes out the Illuminati, that's the full heel turn. There is no redeeming Wanda anymore. It's sad. I mean, even with her self-sacrifice at the end of the movie, there is no redeeming Wanda. The Wanda that we've had at this point in the MCU was just too broken to be fixed.
Yeah, so you snapped Professor X's neck. I was like, you gotta die. I'm done with you now.
Yeah, she is just too broken to be fixed now. And that's kind of this was all kind of a logical ending for her through this whole thing. I mean, her tough childhood, losing her parents, losing her kids, losing vision, being snapped for 5 years, which I'm sure would have a psychological effect on anybody. Being snapped for 5 years, the events of WandaVision, the Darkhold taking her over and making her even more fucked up. I mean, that was the only logical ending for Wanda. She is just too broken to survive. So that there really wasn't any other way for her to be dealt with. Awani says Sherlock is on Earth 221B. Yeah, I get it. I get that reference. I see what you did there, Awani. Good one.
That's funny.
Let's see. He said, Tour Capture says, I didn't understand the story and seemed lacking too quick. You
don't want to spend too much time on that there.
I don't think it was too quick. I agree with something John Campea said when he did his thing the other day, is the second act kind of had a pacing thing. It's like it was balls out, balls out, balls out, and then it slowed down a little bit, like in a part of the second act. And it's kind of like that weird whiplash, like when you're going really fast on a roller coaster and you get to the end, it hits the brakes, and you kind of jerk forward. It was that kind of a thing. I'm like, I don't mind a little bit of slowing down from the action and giving some exposition through dialogue and things like that, but it seemed like it was one of those like jerky motions, like everything kind of slowed down a little too fast for me. I kind of agree with you on that, but I mean, the third act definitely picked it all way back up. Wandy also says, I think the success of No Way Home hindered this movie with the reshoots. Well, I think when they put it out there that this was going to be more of a direct offshoot of the ramifications of what he did, when in reality it kind of wasn't. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was some dialogue that was in the trailers that wasn't in this movie, where Mordo tells Strange, you messed around with the multiverse, that has to be punished.
Yes.
That line of dialogue wasn't in the movie.
That
line of dialogue wasn't in the movie.
I forgot about that.
So it seems like it was less about the ramifications of what he did in Spider-Man No Way Home, and more about Wanda doing this shit and him having to step up to Wanda. So
this movie is more about Wanda than him. Do you guys disagree with me, or do you think it was 50-50?
I think it was probably closer to 50-50, but this is significantly about Wanda. Because if you think about it, if you're not going to get the entire group of Avengers to go fight Wanda and what she's become, who's the only person that logically could stand up to her? And that's Doctor Strange. Because they have similar skill sets.
The entire sorcerers and Carmitage, you know.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, what could Vision have done? If he would have called Vision up and said, hey, you need to come put your bitch in check, and Vision and White Vision would have rolled in, and he'd have been like, Wanda, you need to stop. She'd have been like, wiggly woo, and shredded him like she shredded Mr. Fantastic. I mean,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess she can. Yeah, she could probably shred vibranium like it was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, she has the power to create vibranium.
That's true.
You think she'd have the power to also destroy it? I mean, vibranium is a strong metal that bullets can't get through and lasers can't get through, but Wanda's got something else. I mean,
I don't think the Scarlet Witch gives a shit about Vision.
I think I asked that.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
The iteration of Wanda,
I asked that.
The White Vision is a Vision, so I don't think she actually is in love with him.
Not the same, yeah.
Yeah. At least Scarlet Witch isn't. Wanda may have harbored some hope that maybe she could find Vision and at least talk to him, and maybe some of those emotions would grow out of his programming and she could have it all back. But because Wanda is not really in control, Scarlet Witch is. It's probably not something that's first and foremost in her mind. As far as the reshoots of Wanda, every movie goes through reshoots. And to be absolutely honest, I think reshoots are probably used on some stuff like Marvel movies as a security feature. Because if the first scene you shoot is John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and then you let him go on and do whatever he's doing, and then you shoot the rest of the movie, that's a whole lot of time where that kind of shit can leak out. And instead of finding out 3 or 4 weeks ago when we got some scenes released on YouTube of John Krasinski, then that shit's on YouTube for a year and a half. And since this movie already got pushed a year because of pandemic problems, then it would have already been out there. It would have spoiled the whole thing. I mean, having it spoiled a week or two before the movie is something you can't really avoid. But I mean, you know, a year out would have kind of fucked the whole thing up. Let's see. Awani says they cut out a lot. Well, I mean, we don't know what they've cut out yet. I mean, not every movie shoots.
Snyder cut.
Not every movie shoots 7 or 8 hours of footage and then cuts it down to 2. I mean, there's some movies that they used everything they shot, or they only cut out stuff that was generally kind of useless to the overall story and doesn't really matter. Now, I'm sure there's probably a lot of stuff that they shot for this movie they ended up not using. But was it going to be significant to the story? We don't know until we actually see those things and we can put them in context. Tour Capture says, gotta be a series of AC. No, America Chavez. She is supposed to be in. I forget what else she was going to be in. They do have plans for her in the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just don't remember exactly.
I think
what
she'll pop into the thing with Clea and Strange.
Possible. I don't know yet. That's a couple years off, so who really knows? But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Awandi says 40 minutes extra scenes left out. Well, again, we don't know what those scenes are. I mean, they could have just been some funny joking scenes that they looked at him and they were like, they kind of slow the movie down. We're going to go ahead and drop this because they're not really important. Maybe they were stuff that they were saving. One of the things that John Campea has been talking about was that somebody had sent him some footage from a Marvel project. They didn't say which one. And he thought that it was stuff that was going to be in Spider-Man and ended up not being in Spider-Man. And then he thought, well, maybe that stuff's going to be for Doctor Strange. It's not Doctor Strange either. So they're shooting it. They at one point were shooting 3 or 4 different projects at one time. They were shooting this, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Black Panther at the same time.
Wow.
So at one point. So I mean, footage. Sometimes they'll shoot this footage and they're like, you know what? We still like this scene. We still like what it does for the story, for the overall MCU, but maybe it's not going to fit in this movie very well. Maybe it's going to fit in Black Panther a little bit better. So maybe we'll see Doctor Strange pop in a cameo on Black Panther for whatever reason. We don't know yet. Let's see. Wandi says the 4 Wanda minions were throwaway. Yeah, I wish we'd have gotten a little more of a fight out of them. But it seems like they were there to look badass, and then like Wong just kind of grabs one and throws him off the cliff. That was actually a really cool death, by the way. He's just like, and then just pulls him over. That was pretty fun. And then of course Zombie Strange rolls up there and just kind of wrecks the other 3. So yeah, they weren't used very well. Tour Capture says I think that means content. He loves the content. Well, we're glad you like the content because we're trying to grow here. Again, don't forget, guys, 500 subscribers, Abandoned Pet Project, fundraiser thing. We've got 262 right now. So let's get going. So help spread the word for us if you would. Tour Capture also says No Way Home had a different feel. This was kind of predictable. Yeah, a little bit. But the thing is, I
hate saying predictable because I'm like, I watch a lot of goddamn movies. So I'm like, I hate that I've kind of, you know what I'm talking about, Frank, too. And I'm like, I kind of numb myself to it. I'm like, yep, well, I saw that coming. I've seen that before. But that's just the inherent problem of doing something like this. It didn't lessen my, I didn't hate the movie because of it. I'm just like, well, I didn't jump and Wanda did her fucking Michael Myers bullshit and whoop, came right in front of my face. I was like, nice.
Yeah. I don't, it wasn't predictable. I didn't know what to expect walking into this. Again, my mind had this list of like a million things that we could see, that I wanted to see, that I don't think we're going to see. And I left there not knowing how to reconcile what I saw on the screen against my own list in my head. So maybe that's why part of me left a little bit miffed, not quite disappointed, but a little miffed. But, I don't know. It's, again, we're kind of in a weird spot for the MCU right now. They have to rebuild. Just let them rebuild. I think here in the next year or two, especially now that, again, filming schedules are starting to get back to normal and they can actually start to plan things out a little better and be more aggressive about what they're making, I think it'll be a lot better. Tour Capture said Cleo was dumb. They should have waited. I mean, well, wait for what? I mean, it's a post-credit scene. It's a post-credit scene. I mean, I don't think she's going to be a part of the next 3 or 4 Marvel movies coming out. She's probably going to be Doctor Strange specific, so we're probably not going to see her again for 2 to 3 years. So
the next Doctor Strange movie.
Introducing her now in a post-credit scene is a fun way of saying, okay, yeah, this is what, because this is what the post-credit scenes do. They give us a glimpse into what's down the line. Now, maybe not what's down the line for next week. Maybe it's what's down the line for a couple of years from now. But that's kind of what it is. So, I mean, you introduce her now, and that scene, if you think about it, it acts as kind of like a impromptu teaser trailer for Doctor Strange 3 and the fight with Dormammu. whatever the subtitle's going to be. Right. Tour Capture says, why the reference to the smartest man in the world? That was Tony Stark. Not in every world. I mean, I think they pretty much established that Rocket is as smart as Tony Stark when they were building that time travel machine in Endgame. It's like, I mean, there's plenty. Bruce Banner is probably every bit as smart as Tony Stark. Now,
that's who they went to next.
One of the superpowers that both Stark and Reed Richards share is that they are both super smart individuals. I mean, aside from their abilities and superpowers, they're also both very, very smart people who can pick up something really, really quickly and learn it. So maybe he
built us in a cave.
Maybe he is the smartest guy on Earth 838. I mean, do we even know that Tony Stark exists? Tony Stark could be a janitor at the Baxter Foundation in Earth 838 for all we know. Maybe he doesn't know shit.
Yeah. Maybe.
But we don't know that. Tor Capture said, did they get into a relationship? Talking about Clea and Doctor Strange, yes, they do. In the comic books, they do have a relationship. They have a kid, who is significant, as I recall.
Probably at least have a flirtation in the movie, then.
Probably, I mean, yeah.
It's like,
again,
let him
it's
move
a
on
long way off, so I don't want to start speculating on that already, but, But yeah, they do get into a relationship.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tour Capture was telling us that 2008 was when it came out. Tim Roth is going to play Abomination. Yes, he is. Tour Capture says, I have a feeling that Thor: Love and Thunder will be boring. Well, I don't know.
I agree.
I'm managing my expectations for Thor: Love and Thunder because they've gotten so far away from the mythology of the God of Thunder that at this point it's becoming a big joke. I mean, I thought Ragnarok
is all I gotta say.
I'm supposed to be the one with the jokes.
I thought Ragnarok was a funny movie. I don't think it was a great movie. It was not. Super, but that's one of the things that pissed me off about the movie, and this is one of the things that Marvel does on occasion that bothers me, is they tend to obfuscate the heavy dialogue that is very rich in the mythology, not just of the MCU, but of the individual characters, for the fart joke. And it's like, the fart jokes are funny, but it's like, and Thor Ragnarok there was points where the dialogue was getting really, really good, and then it's like
Ian Malcolm in the movie, for fuck's sake. I mean,
I didn't mind that. I actually like his character and what he brought to it. And if
I loved it, but it totally brought down the seriousness of the movie.
If he was going to be the comic relief, that would have been great. But it's like, Thor basically is a bumbling moron for that entire movie, and it's like, well, he's not the God of Thunder. He's not a great warrior. He's kind of a moron.
They
didn't really make Hulk look good
Captain Sparkles.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't get it. But I mean, I hope it. I mean, it'll be what the movie's going to be. And if that's what they're going to do, is just make it a big comedy, then whatever. Don't pretend like you're giving me actual, mythology of the Viking God of Thunder or some shit. Just, it's going to be a comedy, just be a comedy. Just be what you want it to be. Don't try to pretend something.
That Jane Thor, I mean, holy shit.
She did get kind of ripped. I'm interested to see what they do with her. And again, but
that's gonna be awesome.
One of the things about this movie coming up is that if they're going to go with the same background that the comic book has, is that Jane comes down with cancer, which is a very serious thing to deal with. Are you going to make a big joke about her dealing with cancer? It's like, I mean, do you change the reason why she ends up becoming Lady Thor and can wield Mjolnir, or are you going to do whatever?
Or are you going to have Chris Rock up there and being like, can't wait to see fucking Lady Thor 2? And Chris Hemsworth goes and slaps him. I don't know. Fuck. Takes Mjolnir and just whacks him out of the fucking stratosphere.
Yeah, Tour Capture also says in the Incredible Hulk movie, the scene where the Hulk throws the tank, that was an hour away from my house. Nice. I grew up in California in a town called Santa Cruz. They filmed a lot of movies there as well, so I got to see a few movies getting filmed when I was a kid. That was really cool. Clint Eastwood filmed a bunch of stuff there. Lost Boys was filmed in my hometown.
Nice.
So yeah, it's one of the nice things about growing up in California is you probably saw at least one movie or TV show being filmed at some point in the 80s and 90s. Now they tend to film all this shit either in LA or in like
Vancouver.
Canada, yeah, Vancouver's a hot spot for film and TV now. Let's see. Tor Capture says the show Avatar in the trailer, dead silence. Oh yeah, did you guys get to watch the Avatar trailer?
No,
I did not. I got there just in time to watch the movie. I didn't see the trailers.
I don't care.
Well, it's online now, so you can go watch it. But I saw the Avatar trailer. I had heard that they were only playing the Avatar trailer in front of the 3D showings of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But I was interested to see that it popped up. It was the first trailer that played when me and Jennifer went and saw it on Saturday.
That's the movie with the blue people. I never saw it.
Yes, it is.
I never saw it. So
I will say what I always say. Visually, it's a stunning movie. It's probably one of the most stunning movies ever made.
Okay, yes.
However, as a story, it's a little blah. It doesn't live up to the visuals.
It's Fern Gully in space.
It's just a random screenplay.
No, it's Fern Gully in space.
Well, it's James Cameron. James Cameron, because he's such a heavy environmentalist, he tries to put the heavy environmentalist, bent on the whole thing. And I get it. It was just sometimes it was way too heavy-handed, and it's
distracting.
You kind of cringe. It's distracting a little bit from the movie. And on top of that, you could have cut out at least 30 minutes of that movie and made it better.
You could have cut out an hour of that movie.
That movie's got pacing issues. It's like it's fast and slow, then fast and slow.
No, Titanic is
slow down.
Titanic is cool because the length of the movie is the entire length it took the time for the ship to sink in real life. I'm like, that's fun. That's cool.
You have enough time. Shit out. It's not a stupid love story. The Door.
I know.
door. I'm
Hey,
gonna say.
James Cameron doesn't give a shit. The Mythbusters did it, told it right to his face, and he kind of been like, "Oh, really? Like, I don't care." I'm like, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, I wrote him that way. He died. Get over it. I'm like,
he's like,
well,
he's
yes.
Like, you want to see the stub for the paycheck that I got for that movie? Criticize all you want.
Well,
you want to see my last residual check? That's probably still somewhere around $500,000. Yeah.
I would have fired back with, let's see your IMDb page, sir. Oh, that's right. I'll wait for your next movie another 20 years. Fuck you.
But I'm sure we'll talk about that here in the coming months as that movie gets closer and closer. Let's see. Going down to Federico Garza.
For a second, I thought we were going to do a retro review of Titanic.
We could.
That'd be fun.
Eventually.
I'm
not against it.
No. You don't understand.
Nobody would watch it.
Oh, I think
I'll come in here with the white shirt and suspenders and the fucking the slicked over hair. About knock my horn off my head.
Well, let me tell you why I think that video would probably at least do average for what we generally do view-wise in the channel. It's like the Downton Abbey Series 1 video that we did is getting ready to hit the 300 view mark.
Oh.
And Titanic is essentially the same thing.
Okay.
And look, Titanic's a good movie. I mean, I could have done without the whole love story.
I just like to shit on it because I think the love story's stupid as fuck.
I could have done without the love story, but I mean, it works pretty good. It works a lot better to me than Avatar did.
You know what's coming. A big spoiler alert, the ship is going to fucking sink. But you're tied and emotionally invested in this love story and these characters.
You know that she's telling the story, and she has the necklace, and it's like...
To be honest, I didn't know she had it. I was just like, oh, is it just gone? And then this bitch throws it over the edge, and I'm like, okay, somebody push her over. No, that was dumb. Find a door now, you stupid... fuck you. I don't know.
Federico gave the movie a 10 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah,
Universal.
I don't know if I'd have given it a 10, but I mean, like I said, I don't give movies scores anymore because it can change over time and my perspective can change. But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good. You know, one of the reasons I stopped giving scores is because as film fans, we're also like all or nothing. It's like this movie was either really, really great or it didn't have that one thing that we wanted, so the movie sucked. It's like, no, that's not always the case. That's not always the case. I mean, it's like, one case is like the movie The Green Knight that I was really, really excited to see, and then I went and saw it, and I was like, meh. It's like I can still give the movie like a 6. I can tell you why I didn't score it higher or lower, but I mean, it's like, whatever. It's like, the movie is what it is. I might watch the movie again a year from now and be like, okay, now I understand this differently. Now maybe I like it more, or I might watch... It's like the first Suicide Squad movie. I stopped watching that movie because every time I watched it, I liked it less and less.
Better than the remake.
Well, we're getting ready for hey, spoiler alert for everybody. We're gonna start doing Jurassic Park and Jurassic World reviews. You're welcome. I did not know. I mean, I've seen those movies inside and out, but I still like watching them again. My point, because I didn't know Rachel had only seen the first one. I was like, oh, you don't even realize there's 2 islands with dinosaurs. Shit. Ooh. Anyway. We've watched 1, 2, and 3, and I was like, see, I wanted to watch 3 again because I had a weird unpopular opinion that I actually liked 3, and a lot of people seem to hate that movie. Like
3, I think they didn't like because it didn't have Ellie and Alan in it.
They were in it, but they weren't together.
Yeah,
that is the heart. But see, now I saw that, and she saw that first scene. I was sitting there like this, like, because I know it's gonna happen. And she went, oh, I'm like, yeah. You see why I'm hoping for this fucking new movie where it's like maybe they got divorced or he died. It's not canon. I'm
not trying to be rude to parents, but the little girl was very annoying. How she didn't listen to her dad and got them into so much fucking trouble.
Are you talking about the?
Lex?
Wait.
Yeah, like she shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like that drove me nuts.
Wait, you talking about the Lex?
Lex.
She got them in trouble. Jurassic Park 3.
Wait, 3?
Oh, in 3.
She wasn't in 3.
Yeah, she wasn't in 3.
What are you talking about?
Ian Malcolm's daughter.
Oh, okay.
That's the second,
I thought you were talking about
one. Oh.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Lex.
Oh, no, Kelly.
The little girl who shouldn't even be there. She tags along. It's like, do you not listen to your parents?
That's kind of a running theme in at least the first 3. Is that I mean, if you really kind of sit and pay attention to all of it, while things weren't exactly going to plan in that first tour, this whole island probably works if Dennis Nedry doesn't get all greedy and try to steal shit and fuck everything up. If Dennis Nedry just plays his fucking role, that all probably works in the long run. And Hammond builds the park, and it works out great. But because of his greediness is why everything went wrong in the first movie. And then I forget what it would be in the second movie. But in the third movie, it's kind of the same thing.
Well, second movie, it was just that it's like, hey, we have this island where they're just kind of roaming free. And it's like, well, we should do something about that. Let's be honest,
if you read the book, you knew that they missed a lot. The first movie, that they needed to tie into another movie.
Oh, yeah. So the book Jurassic Park is way different.
I think there even was a book of Lost World that Michael Crichton had written too.
Yeah,
so
actually, I think the first two movies were kind of they had taken different parts of the original Jurassic Park.
That was frustrating as a book reader.
But I read the Jurassic Park book when I was younger. I loved it.
Well, anyway, my point was, I'm like, I wanted to see 3 again for myself because I'm like, I remember watching. I mean, of course, I'm a little kid. when it came out, I was like, oh yay, dinosaurs! Woo. I don't know. I thought it was fun.
Spielberg actually secured the rights to that book before it was even published.
I've heard that, and that's a good move.
But I wanted to see it to see if my opinion on it had changed, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm like, you know what? Seeing it with her too, because she's seeing it for the first time, and I'm seeing it again probably after 10 years maybe, because I don't really watch I watched 2 if it was on or if I saw it. I don't really watch 3 as much anymore, but I liked it a lot as a kid. I don't know why. I thought the Spino was cool. I thought it was really
dynamic of showing the T-Rexes as parents with a baby.
Yeah.
That I did love about 3.
And I like the overarching thing of the intelligence of the raptors.
We'll get to that. We'll get to all that stuff on Thursday.
I'm just saying, that was my fucking point, was that I'm like, I want to see my opinion change.
Alert, squirrel moment. We're supposed to talk about Doctor Strange.
I was talking about opinions changing on movies.
But let's see. MK Kratos, what's going on, my man? He says that Drew has text for horror movies. Frank has me. I'll see you guys in 5 months on YouTube. Yeah, Kratos is going to be here. He's more than welcome to come hang out with us and do whatever horror movies that we decide to do. I do want to do a little bit more horror stuff. I'd like to. Yeah, I mean, we've got Jeremy here. Blumhouse and stuff has made horror movies a lot better lately. So
I love Blumhouse.
So I do want to do some more stuff. BJ, Jeremy's wonderful mother, says she thinks she needs to catch up. She's a little lost. Oh yeah, I mean, WandaVision would help give you a lot of context in this.
Yeah, I was like, that would help.
Yeah, it would help a lot. But
your mom would like WandaVision.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah,
because I was not Marvel anything. I hadn't seen anything but like maybe Iron Man, maybe Thor.
Because I'm
watching WandaVision, I understood it all.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a love letter to TV, and I'm like, I know she'd appreciate it because I'm sure she's seen throughout. You've experienced that. I'm like, you've seen TV throughout all these decades, and it's really. I love it. It's just cool seeing each one progress. But
the fact that they even took the time of figuring out what the average runtime was of a TV show in that time—that's what they did for that episode.
And the same little tropes that are in each decade, like they were in separate beds, and all of a sudden, whoop! Now they're together. Hey, look, they went to color. I mean, it's right. The same little tropes that were in every a decade of television. It was
amazing.
Cool. They even did the effects the same way, like where practical effects, where she goes like this, like whoop, snaps her fingers, or does a little nose twitch. All of a sudden they cut, and then boom, change her clothes and cut back. It's like they did it practically like that, and before a live audience, all that jazz. It's cool.
Nope.
MK Kratos goes off to say he has a wonderful amount of knowledge about Michael Myers movies. He's seen every single one, including the Rob Zombie crocs of shit called Halloween movies. Yeah, the Rob Zombie ones were meh.
Yeah, they're not good.
But
keep it in the
what's
keep it in the Devil's Rejects, man.
Yeah. What'd you say, Cora?
Isn't he a singer?
Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie.
He's acts in movies too.
He's actually done a little bit. He's doing the Munsters movie.
Yes, sir.
Huh.
Actually, what was the one he did? Was it The Hills Have Eyes?
No.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Well, yeah, yeah.
That's like
Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects. That was it. That was maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. But that was like I saw that once, and that was just straight up gore. I mean, that was like a straight up 70s. Like we don't give a shit about story. Here's just a lot of gore. Well, that's how he story, but I mean, that's why the gore was the focus.
That's why he coined that term, the killbillies.
Yeah,
it's like redneck serial killers from I think it is set in the 70s. It's really.
I don't know if I could watch that.
Yeah, so if you're
a little intense.
If you're a fan of just people having their guts ripped out through their ass constantly, then whatever.
It's a little intense.
You need to find a third seater for those kind of movies.
Well, I mean, Some
the
horror
brothers.
movies you can watch. Honestly, I think Cora would be able to handle some of the older stuff. I think Cora would be able to handle. I think my personal favorite horror movie is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've
never seen any of those.
I think now that movie looks tame. I mean,
visually it's amazing.
I get the visceral feeling of it because I grew up watching. That was the horror that I grew up watching.
You actually see people getting cut into?
It's
what? You don't actually see anybody killed by a chainsaw, which is actually hilarious.
Okay.
You actually don't.
Okay, maybe then.
Well, the way they shot stuff like that, the special effects that were available at the time, were all very, very different. So back then, some of what some of the horror directors did was a lot of the death and blood was inferred rather than shown. Now, yes, there's a bunch of movies out there that through special effects will show a knife slicing someone through someone's neck and the head plopping off and blood and guts, spit and ass everywhere. But a lot of times it's like you'll see him coming down with the chains, Leatherface coming down with the chainsaw, and you'll see him like shaking like he's cutting through a body, but you won't see the body. You won't really see any blood while he's doing it.
Kill Bill, that stuff with the Crazy 88 where she's cutting arms off, that I can handle.
That's probably more blood than what you see in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like I said, literally that shot, that's the closest thing to it when he's killing Franklin in the wheelchair, spoiler alert. Literally, the director and like someone else are sitting on either side of Gunnar Hansen, and they're literally just spitting fake blood out of their mouths onto his character to make the look like the blood splash.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You work with what you got.
In the age of COVID.
No, this is like 1974. That's not an issue.
I just had the vision of them trying to spit it through a mask.
Yeah, no, they're just sitting on off screen, just spitting the fake blood on him to make it look like he's got. I'm like, maybe a spray bottle, guys. Goddamn, but like that's what they did.
Rounding out some of these comments here before we wrap it up, MK Kratos says Sigourney Weaver was an Avatar. That's all you need to know. She goes hand in hand with anything alien related. Sigourney Weaver can do anything. I've seen her in rom-coms. I've seen her in stupid stuff. I've seen her in dramas. She can do it all. She's one of those people. She just does it. She just does it great.
She's great in Working Girl, by the way.
Yeah, especially if James Cameron is the director. Yeah, James Cameron is one of the people she works very well with. But then again, James Cameron's got his own unique vision, like most directors, that sometimes turns out to be fantastic. MK Kratos says, I still have the original 3 Jurassic Park movies on VHS tapes, so you have me hyped.
I do too. I have all 3 of my Jurassic Parks on VHS still. I only recently bought all the DVDs. I still have them.
I never had them on VHS.
I think my 2 or 3 VHSs I still own are like on a bottom shelf back here somewhere.
I need to put it on this back shelf. I have a special, like a set of all 3 the original Star Wars movies in a little special sleeve all of its own. I need to put that up here on the shelf in VHS.
Nice.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah.
Let's see. He says, BJ says, no. Just don't think I could watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, here, what I literally just said, I'm like, I think we've seen worse things than Walking Dead, so.
Oh, yeah.
I can't watch that show. I stopped watching that show after the first season where they introduced the farm and the sisters and the dad.
The farm.
It just got too dark.
Yeah, it's.
You wouldn't like where it's at now. Yeah, it's.
Is it over now?
Not yet. They finished filming.
So is Rick back yet or not?
No, there's gonna be movies. It's not.
Yeah, I think they're.
I want Rick to come back. Stuff. The end.
I do. I want him to come back too.
But if you look at just the difference between Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, just over the course of that 4 years, there was a giant change in the way that they displayed the kills on camera. Because it's like in Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, you've got like the famous rotating room set that they used when one of the characters was getting killed and blood was everywhere, and there was just pouring blood out of the hole in the bed, stuff like that.
Johnny Depp got stuck in the bed and the blood fountain shoots up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Amber Heard's poop came up through there because she pooped on his bed in the multiverse.
God damn it!
But
all right.
But yeah, it's like that is actually way more gore than really any scene in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Actually, you think about it, from 74 to 78 with Michael Myers, I'm like, yeah, you see him pin a dude up on a fucking wall with a knife and just stand back and go like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't even see a lot of blood come out of the knife wound. It's just like it's there. There's a little bit of blood drips down just to let you know that the knife actually pierced the guy, and then it's off in the rest of the movie. So it's not like the Scream movie that just came out when Dewey gets it. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen Scream 5 yet, or Scream, whatever the hell the name of the movie was. It's like that was a very visceral, gory, he got gutted like a damn fish. So
Yeah,
it's like that is a way bloodier scene than anything you get from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A lot of it is it's much more of a psychological horror than
I can handle psychological horror
than it is like blood and gut stuff. There is some stuff. I mean, you see, I think like when you go down the basement, you see like, is it the grandmother's body that has been decomposing in the bathtub or something like that?
Yeah.
It's something like that. I mean, it's visually kind of gross, but you don't see her die. You don't see anybody hacking her up. It's just a skeleton kind of sticking out of the water of the bathtub downstairs. She's obviously
talking to somebody who, when they saw the Indiana Jones movie where the guy literally, the one with the
face melted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was like, oh, I had nightmares about that.
That's just cool.
Yeah, but yeah, by today's standards, that movie is very, very tame. But again, very psychological. Very psychological. Let's see. And I think that's just about it. MK Kratos says, I have case with all my VHS tapes. Like I said, I've got 3 or 4 left still.
Sure, that shit, man. That's worth money.
I've got 3 or 4 left still.
I'm holding on to it.
One of them's a baseball documentary. One of them is Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Nice.
And the other one is a couple of old like VHS tapes that my dad had given me that had like episodes of like X-Files or something on them that I just have them around.
Nice.
I got some of those old Disney movies still on DVD all out there, so that's some more money I'm sitting on for sure.
Like my DVD collection, it's what my parents collected videos like I collected DVDs back in the 80s. So there literally was a shelf that was about
what did your parents do with all their VHSs?
I think they ended up really like pawning them at some point. I know my mom kept all the Disney stuff that came like in the old plastic VHS containers.
Yeah, the big extra white cases had the white lip around it.
Yeah, she kept all that shit.
The gold diamond.
And my dad kept all his John Wayne movies because he's a big John Wayne fan. And I think there's a couple odds and end ones that they kept. But they kind of eventually made the switch over to DVDs as well, and now they don't even do that anymore. It's like my parents some of my DVDs come from my parents, my sister. I went over to my sister's house one day, and she handed me like 2 shoe boxes full of DVDs. She's like, here, I just don't want these anymore. Your movie guy have them. And I'm like, well, a lot of these I already have, but I mean, some of them, a couple of them, I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll take them. But yeah, I mean, with physical media dying out, as much as I love my physical media, even I don't.
I'm still getting the DVD Blu-rays because you have a Blu-ray player, but also to get the digital download.
I want to have some movies on Blu-ray if I can find them. Like all the Marvel stuff, I like every once in a while I'll find a good Blu-ray copy of it, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. I want to have the Marvel stuff on Blu-ray. It's like a Justice League when it came out, I bought it on Blu-ray. Some other movies, if I can find them on Blu-ray, I'll get them. But for the most part, like a lot of stuff from the 70s and 80s that I want, they're never going to be released on Blu-ray. They might come out in like a remastered something or other, but I don't really give a shit about 4K, so I'm not buying any of that. And not everything that I want to have on DVD is ever going to be released.
What is the difference between Blu-ray and 4K?
4K, it's almost like you're.
That's a resolution.
4K is our friend Jennifer's best friend Heather, actually, her and her husband have a 4K TV, and I was over there watching TV on there. They were watching Big Bang Theory one day when we were over there, and it's like you can actually see the definition of like people's heads and stuff like that. It's
I
not
have a 4K TV upstairs.
It's not quite
I don't see
3D.
the difference.
Well, it has to be 4K enhanced. You can't just like put in any old DVD and it plays it in 4K. It has to be 4K enhanced. So it's like you have to take, whatever, like, Star Wars.
Content has to be recorded that way or something.
It has to be processed through the computers and redone to show up in 4K. But yeah, I mean, they were watching some 4K stuff, and it's pretty crazy. It's like you can actually see the definition of like people's heads and things like that. It sounds good, but I mean, it's not enough to where I'm like, oh god, I gotta have it. I just bought a new TV, a 55-inch, like a year ago. I don't want to go buy a new TV.
You need a new computer first before you.
I need a new computer before I need anything like that. But luckily, we haven't had any big problems today. So maybe the stuff that I don't know. I'll just start the streams an hour early from now on, so that way I can deal with all this shit, all the gremlins.
You play some hold music on the stream, going dude.
Yeah, so by all means, go down to the Stream Elements link and support the channel so Frank can get a new computer and we can not have those problems. But let's see. Jeremy says he's worse things than Walking Dead. BJ says, good Frank. Thank you very much, BJ. I hope you're enjoying the Downton Abbey stuff that we put up so far. I have episode 3. It's actually in the editing software right now that I have to go finish because I know we had like a weird hiccup with recording that one too, and I'm trying to figure out where that hiccup was so I can splice it in where it needs to be. But that'll be up soon.
I might remember.
That comes out next week.
If you go back and listen to it, it's when we started talking about Rose spontaneously.
I know. I haven't had like a whole like hour and something on minutes to sit here and listen to the whole thing from end to end. So
you send me the file, I'll find it.
But I'll figure it out. But let's see. MK Kratos says I have the original Die Hard trilogy VHS collector's box he got from his late grandfather. Nice. Oh yeah, that's good. I mean, Die Hard's becoming way popular right now, given everything, all the health
Christmas
stuff
movie ever.
that he's been
Not a Christmas movie.
that he's been going through. Any movie's a Christmas movie if you watch it at Christmas. Let's see. Jeremy has all the old Disney. Yes, he does.
Yes, I do.
Let's see. MK Kratos also says the Disney movies I have are all on VHS. They all still work. Yeah, I mean, if you don't watch them all the time, VHS will hold up. They don't really like dehydrate or anything. So I mean, I guarantee right now, the couple of VHS that I still have, none of them have seen the inside of a VHS player in probably 15 years, at least, maybe more than that, to be absolutely honest. But I'm willing to bet I could put one of those in right now and it'd probably play. He said, even Merry Melody's 50 greatest hits cartoons, nice. 10 hours of cartoon. I'm not gonna lie, I had my nephew here earlier today. I was trying to get him to watch, because like YouTube has like a endless stream of like the old Looney Tunes stuff. I was like, dude, let's sit here and watch these. He goes, no, I want to watch Roblox bullshit on YouTube, whatever. That kid's gonna learn. That kid's gonna learn. Rachel says, thanks for bringing my brain stimulant while I clean my apartment. Hey, glad we could do something. If we did nothing else, we helped stimulate Rachel's brain. Let's see. MK Kratos says 19-minute mark. Is that what it was? 19-minute mark of what? What am I missing? Is
that for the video where the hiccup was? Is that what you're saying?
No. The videos we did for Downton Abbey are all pre-recorded. They haven't actually been put out yet. So, but when we were recording it, for some reason OBS kind of just froze for a few minutes. I don't know if it continued recording, and then it just kind of like spontaneously started recording again. So I have to figure out where that was.
The topics.
Yeah, I have to figure out where that is so I can just cut that shitty part out so you guys don't watch me in full panic mode trying to figure out why my computer's melting.
I'm remembering more now. I'll tell you when we're off the stream.
I'll figure it out eventually. But and then of course Cora's talking about Buttercup because she's a big dog person and she's obsessed with Buttercup.
I find out on May 22nd if the litter has a girl in it, and if there is, I'll take it and I'll have a puppy in July.
We certainly hope so.
So I'm excited.
But anyway, that seems like a pretty good place to wrap up. Thanks to all of you guys. We had a pretty good viewership tonight. Thanks to all of you for coming and hanging out. Don't forget to like and do all that stuff. Don't forget 500 subscribers is where we're trying to get to before we can do the charity stream where we make as much money as we can to donate to the Abandoned Pet Project. That's the project that goes towards helping animals that are on the verge of being euthanized. Veterinarians who work through this charity will go get these animals before they're euthanized. We'll nurse them back to health, give them all the medical treatment they need, and they will look after them and find them foster homes until they can find forever homes. That's a cool thing to do, especially right now because a lot of people went and got those companion pets during the pandemic. Now that we're slowly getting towards the end of the pandemic, these people are just abandoning these pets in the street, just sending them back to the shelters. Now there's a lot of pets out there that need homes again, and some of these animals have been injured in all this stuff, and they don't always get the best. I mean, the shelters do what they can, but they don't always get the best veterinary treatment when they're in the shelters either. So this is something that I really want to try to support, and I hope you guys will support it as well, because we're all animal lovers, whether we have them or not. We all like animals. They're good things. They're good beings. In every universe, animals are good beings. Also, don't forget to share around everything. Help us get to 500 subscribers. Again, we would really appreciate that. Help the channel grow. Don't forget to check out all the really cool people that are linked in the description of this video as well. People like Nightwatch and Casey and Rose, if you're into the gaming stuff, and a bunch of other people. And I think that's where we're going to wrap things up. Lady Cora, where can the folks at home find you?
Nowhere except when you go live and we do Downton Abbey stuff. A ghost.
What other place matters? No other place on YouTube matters. Right here. Right here matters. And my hetero life mate, Jeremy. President Loki. Vote for him in the next presidential election. Let's see if we can get President Loki to get 1,000 write-in votes. I think the record is 900 and something. I read that not too long ago. The record write-in votes for a candidate for the presidential election is like 900 and something. If you can believe this, I think it was that Joe Exotic guy when he tried running for president 6 or 8 years ago.
Oh, no.
But I believe he has the record. So let's see if we can get President Loki the record for write-in votes for the presidential election in 2024.
I'm not even old enough. Please don't do that. No, I just found him in this jacket. I passed these out at the con. Everybody wanted a picture with me. Everybody said something to me. I passed them one of these little stickers, said, "So can I have your vote?" People got a big fucking kick out of this. I have one pack left. I actually ran through just enough for the one. And I actually managed to give, speaking of Red Skull, I gave one to Ross Marquand.
Nice.
I actually managed to he actually stepped back and saw me. He's like, and he did the voice like, "Oh my god, it's Loki. look, everybody, it's Loki. Holy, oh my god, I love it. I'm like, you're so cool. So I gave it to him. What?
No, Ross Marquand actually did the voice of the Ultron bots in Multiverse of Madness.
I figured he would be in there somewhere. I gave it to him, and he's like, yes, hell yeah, you have my vote. And as I walked out, he's like, make Asgard great again. I'm like, I love you. And I walked out, yeah. It was fun.
But what have you got going on over on Twitch right now?
Still doing Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. We're now into episode 4, mainly because, my dear God, I want to fly the Millennium Falcon, so we now have that. Yeah. Unfortunately, when the new character pack came out on May the 4th, I was like, oh yeah, we're not in a hub world. We're still kind of in an active mission. We're on the Death Star. I'm like, shit, I can't even look at the new characters yet. But, I mean, I'm sure we'll get past that in this next playthrough, and I get to see, like, Ahsoka, get to see the Bad Batch, get to see Boba Fett, Fennec Shand. That'll be cool. Also, I think Ahsoka just started filming, too, speaking of which. There was a little Ahsoka chair and Dave Filoni's big fucking cowboy hat sitting on it, and I was like, oh, cool. Yay. Yeah, we're doing that. And I guess since we're doing Lego stuff now, just straight up, something that I'm going to hopefully do with the Brooding Gamer is I found they do these little moments. There's one of, circle back around, Jurassic Park, they have where the Rex broke out of the cage and it's like stepping on the cars and shit. So I have that, and I was like, me and him, I think, are going to do that together since we wanted to do something. So that'll be coming up at some point, probably on Twitch or somewhere. Yeah, obviously I'm here Mondays, I'm here Thursdays for all this madness. Seems to be the theme. Yeah, and I'm on Twitch on Tuesdays and whenever the hell else. So honestly, the best place will just be follow on Twitter, because that's when that's your first feed of whenever stuff happens.
He is Grim Tuesday 23 across all platforms. Go check out all of his stuff. And as for me, you can find me here with my amazing co-host every Thursday talking about all the cool things that are going on in the world of entertainment and television. You can also find me on Sundays over on the Derailed podcast. Link in the description to that is in the description below. And we talk about all the other craziness that goes on in the world around us that is usually not movie related. So you get to hear some of the headier, more important topics on there. And I'm sure I'm going to say something on there that's going to piss you off if you go over there. But give it a chance. I hope you will, because that's a good show as well. Just to close out the poll, let's see. 50% of you said it was good. 40% of you said meh. 10% of you thought it was great. Nobody voted terrible. That's a good sign. That's a good sign that it wasn't terrible. I was hoping nobody would say terrible, but I wanted to make sure I put the option on there because I thought it was fair. But again, thank you guys so much. I know this is a much longer stream than we usually do. I think the Morbius review, we went barely more than an hour. This one is gone almost 3. So there's been a whole lot to say about this movie. A whole lot more coming in the MCU over the course of the next 6 or 8 months. Again, the next time you see us talking about a Marvel movie will be Thor: Love and Thunder coming out here in just a few months. And come back and hang out again on Thursday, where we're going to get into a couple of news stories that I feel we need to talk about, and we'll be doing another retro movie review of Jurassic Park, where we'll be joined by our good friend, the Brooding Gamer, who is our resident Jurassic Park and dinosaur expert. Come and listen to what he has to say. He's a really smart guy. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you for coming.